I'm gonna go and actually record this too, so that way if I ever have other friends that want to ask about this stuff, I can just refer them back to this video. Okay, so
Yeah.
don't worry about being recorded. You can say whatever. I don't care.
Okay.
So because I've already had this conversation one time with one friend, and it was like about 2 or 3 hours. So he was kind of in the same position as you were with the whole thing. So I'm assuming like you've seen everything happening with Wall Street bets, with like like GameStop and all the memes about everything going on with Doge and everything. So like they're basically sticking it to Citadel. I mean, the whole reason that worked is because one guy knows that they were all going up against GameStop, like betting against it, basically selling it, and that kind of like put them in a bad position. I'll talk about that later, but what's important is I'm really trying to focus on crypto because I know crypto. I don't really know stocks as well. I know the basics of stocks, but crypto's a little bit different, but it's a lot of similarities. So let's talk about kind of like the beginning. So you told me before that what you know about Bitcoin is you refer to it as a machine. Were you just saying that as like a metaphor, or were you saying that like it's just the bitch, the best thing ever? Or?
Yeah, it's just like it's just a machine. It never stops like rising. It's just like it plows, through everyone's expectations, I guess.
Because it kind of is a machine too. It kind of is a machine too.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So I need to go back and give you some history. Do you know the history about how it started? Like the actual history?
I know like a Japanese guy created it, and there's like 21 million Bitcoins and that can ever like be existed or mined.
Okay.
I
understand.
Yeah.
And just for the record, my background is like this because it's really messy in the background, so it looks awful. No, mine looks worse. I promise. Yours looks okay compared to mine. That's why I just want to refer that. We're going to the moon, in Bitcoin, but still, this is just because it's messy. All right, so let's start at the beginning then. So we had, if you remember, you were like 8 or 9 at the time, but there was a big 2008 recession. I was a loan officer with your dad, with his mortgage company, with my dad, not your dad, your papa, with mortgage company and his real estate company and stuff. And, that was right around the time when I first moved down to Alabama, and I was getting into real estate because he was telling me, oh, Jacob, this is great. And so what happened was I got into it, approved a couple loans and stuff. But right when I got into it, we had that huge, big recession, the huge, big, like, top of the housing market where nobody was able to get a mortgage. Everyone's rates went up because of the mortgages they were being offered in there, so that their rates go up after 3 to 5 years. It was automatically readjust, and suddenly their rates were higher, and people were losing their homes. It was all kinds of bad stuff, right? So it was terrible. And what happened as a result of that is someone on an online forum, I can't remember the exact name of the forum, said, hey guys, I think this is really messed up. This has happened. I've been working on a little side project called Bitcoin, and he went by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah.
And he produced this white paper, just a document, it's like 4 or 5 pages. And he put it out there on this forum, like that was very little known at the time, just to have a few thousand people, I think, involved with it. And these other guys picked it up like, hey, this is really cool. Yeah, I'll help you with it. And we know some of these people, like Hal Finney was one, and there's a few others, but notable people that were around that were like, hey, yeah, I'll help you. I know something about software engineering, programming, whatever, we can try to make this happen. And he said, okay, great. So he was working with these guys to make this into a thing. He just had a paper, an idea, and he knew a little bit, I guess, about programming, but he got some help from these other guys that some of them are still around today. Some of them are still alive. Some of them have passed away too. To be like, hey, okay, let's make it. So they programmed it and they put this code out here. So here's how it works. So the idea is, yes, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. Okay. But really what the thing is, it's a constantly updating ledger. Okay. I don't know if you've heard that being tossed around or not, but basically, it's like if I give you, say, let's use AA batteries, because let's have one here. Let's say our currency is 5 AA batteries. I give you 5 AA batteries for a hot pocket, let's just say, and then you're like, okay, and then you've got 5 batteries, and you're going to go to Mary and say, okay, hey Mary, I want this 20-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola. Okay, here, that'll be 3 batteries. So you got to keep a ledger. You got to keep something in track of who's got how much of what. So think of that as like a Bitcoin. It's a digital ledger that's constantly updating. It's a form of money like that, where you're using this as a store of value. It has a value, and we'll talk about that in a second of how it has value. But it's basically, the main fundamental concept is a digital form of money, and we're going to talk about why it's different than like Venmo and stuff too in a second. So you've got this digital form of money. It's called Bitcoin. You can have multiple Bitcoin. You can have a fraction of a Bitcoin. You can have up to 8 decimal places for a Bitcoin. Okay, that's how divisible it is. So you've got this Bitcoin. If you want to buy something, you could send Bitcoin to someone, and if they accept it, like, yeah, I'll take Bitcoin, they can receive it and so on, store it, whatever. So it's basically like money. So here's the thing, going back to the history of it. So with it being a ledger, the idea was this could be a form of exchange of money that nobody can stop. There is no middleman. They wanted this to happen because they saw how the whole recession hit everything and caused everyone to lose their homes, caused these Wall Street guys to get bailouts from money just being printed magically out of thin air. Okay. Wasn't just like, borrowed or anything. It was magically printed out thin air by the Fed, the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is not federal, by the way. It's about federal as FedEx, Federal Express. Okay. It's not a federal entity. It's just like a company, basically. So basically, the government goes to the Fed, says, hey, we need $5 trillion. Okay, here you go, $5 trillion. They give them the government $5 trillion. The government eventually has to pay that $5 trillion back with interest to the Fed, which is fucked. How are you going to ever get out of that debt? You can't. Yeah. Okay, so here's how Bitcoin comes in. All right. So the way this ledger is kept up to date is for people that are actively mining it. Have you heard of this before?
Yeah, I've heard of people like you have to solve math problems, basically.
Yeah, let me give you the basics of it, okay? The very easiest basics of how it all works. This is like a 30,000 foot view, but let's say, okay, so you've got people mining these blocks, okay? So it runs on a blockchain. It runs on a continuing ledger of blocks, and these blocks are chained together, and the previous one or the next one can't exist without the previous one, okay? And it's like a following line of these blocks. You can trace everything back to the first block all the way to the very beginning. It's an open ledger. You can actually go online and see it. You can actually go to a web address where they track it all, and you can literally look up specific transactions by ID, by the wallet it's being sent to, by the wallet it's being sent from, all that stuff. It's crazy. Okay, so every time a block on the blockchain gets created, a certain number of transactions, because there's a certain amount of storage space on each block, gets put into that block and get for confirmation, like, hey, I'm sending those batteries, or I'm sending 5 Bitcoin to you, for example, let's say. All right. So, and then once it's put in that block, it goes on, next block gets made, it's more cemented in stone, it's more cemented in stone with each block. So it's like, it's in stone. It cannot be changed. You can't go back and change that previous block, because as we're going, put more blocks on there. If you try to change the history of it, it's going to the other blocks in the future will not be valid. Okay. Now, well, how does that keep from it getting changed? So there's miners, and miners started out as an idea where every computer could mine with their CPU. Okay. In the very, very beginning, you could mine Bitcoin with their CPU. And what they're doing is they're simply validating these transactions rather than like using a PayPal or a Venmo or a MasterCard or Visa or your bank, for example. They are sort of the entity that validates transactions. Okay. Now, the way they validate these transactions is the algorithm, the actual code behind, sending and receiving money actually creates a math problem where whoever can solve that math problem will actually be able to find that next block. They found the correct answer, they create the next block. And there's reward to that too. I think in the beginning, it was like every block that was created would release 50 Bitcoin to the person that found it. Okay. Which was, not much then, but a lot now.
Yeah.
So that was the incentive to find that block and always keep mining and verifying those transactions, because you're getting paid for that service through the protocol, through the code. Okay. That's also why you don't want to fuck it up and try to say, oh, well, Jake has 1,000 Bitcoin. You know, he didn't have that in the previous blocks. So you can't fuck it up. You can't trick it, because it's going to like, no, that's an incorrect. That's not possible. That's an incorrect answer to the math problem. Okay. It won't work that way. It has to base it all on previous blocks of that blockchain. So let's say I'm mining it. Okay.
Okay.
And you're mining it too. Okay, so here's how the computers work. Let's say the answer is 100. Okay, and we're mining away. I say, okay, 10 times 10, and then the algorithm says, no, that's not correct. Okay, so we're looking. You see what I'm saying? We're looking for the previous, like a problem from the previous blocks that was created from the previous blocks. And then let's say Cameron mines, and he says, okay, 99 plus 1. No, the algorithm says that's not it either. That's not the next block. That's not how it works now. Let's say my friend Brent decides to mine, and he says, okay, 100 plus 0. No, that's not it. And, let's say Papa mines on his PC, on his CPU or whatever, and it said, okay, 98 plus 2. And then it says, ding, ding, ding. Okay, that's it. That's the block Papa would get at the time, 50 Bitcoin. And then the next block would be, said, yeah, the algorithm will say, okay, this person got the next block. It goes to the network, and then it goes through like cloud. It goes to every other person mining, you, me, my friend Brent, whoever else. And so, and they try to put in 98 plus 2. Oh yeah, it's working for me too. Okay, that's confirmed. Okay, so we confirmed it. It's getting confirmations like that. Okay, that's a very simplified, dumbed down way of how it all works. It's way more complicated than that. But basically, miners mine it, and they are incentivized to not fuck with the code, because it'll be kicked out and they won't be rewarded. It's a waste of time. At this point, it takes so much electricity to mine a single block of Bitcoin, of the blockchain, that like it would be a significant financial loss. So that's why there's incentive. Okay, let's stick with it. We're all competing to mine more blocks and to keep this chain true. Because of that, there's so many entities right now, like mining and competing to find the next block, that no single government entity can actually overthrow Bitcoin. There's so much hashing power, that's what it's called, going towards mining Bitcoin and getting that next block, that everyone's going after it. Nobody can overthrow it. Even people in China and United States, nobody can just overwrite the code and be like, okay, Bitcoin's done. All right.
Yeah.
There's a thing called a 51% attack, where basically, I can't remember how many like petahashes or exahashes or whatever it is that we're currently at right now. But if you were to somehow be able to have all the hashing power, at least 51% or more, to where you have more than 50%, you've got control of all the hashing power, that's the only way you would ever be able to actually overthrow the Bitcoin blockchain. But at this point, maybe the first few years you could have done it. At this point, nobody can do it. Nobody can do it, because there's so much hashing power going in the system to try to get the next block. So
if I was to try to, like, for example, obviously I know I couldn't, but if I was to try to mine a Bitcoin on my like Mac, what would happen?
Nothing would happen, but you probably would just be wasting your electricity, maybe wearing out like the internal parts and stuff too.
Yeah,
that's all it would be. You wouldn't see any return on anything, honestly. I'll go into mine here more in a second. Right now, I'm just trying to give you that history about why Bitcoin is valuable. So here's another thing, okay, about why it keeps going up. I told you that at first you could mine a block and get 50 Bitcoin from a block, right? Well, every 4 years they have what they call the halvening. Sounds silly, I know, but every 4 years the supply of Bitcoin that's released, okay, it stays 21 million total supply eventually, no matter what. But the amount that gets released, I guess you say the inflation gets cut in half. So every 4 years, after a certain number of blocks in that blockchain, it gets cut in half. So if instead of releasing 50 new Bitcoin, fresh, brand new minted Bitcoin, it gets cut down to 25. That happened in, let's see, it came out in 2009, so about 2013, it got cut in half, okay, to like 25. And then again in 2016, it got cut in half. Sometime in 2016, it got cut in half again and cut down to 12 and a half. Right now, in May 2020, it got cut down to only 6.25 Bitcoin per block. And what that causes is suddenly these miners are fighting over, less piece of the pie. It's that slice is getting smaller and smaller. So you're going to see some people drop out of the race trying to mine it because they can't afford it. It's not worth it. So they end up dropping out of it. And well, what happens next if enough people drop out of it? I talked to you about that math problem being like 100. Well, as more and more people mine, let's say everyone in my neighborhood and your neighborhood starts mining Bitcoin suddenly, the algorithm is smart enough to know that after every 2016 blocks, it will actually increase the difficulty to match it so that roughly every 10 minutes a new block is formed. Okay, it's crazy. It regulates itself like that. So every 10 minutes a block is formed, and suddenly if the hash rate spikes up and it recognizes that suddenly blocks are being found like every 30 seconds instead of every 10 minutes, it's going to match that to where suddenly the difficulty goes up to be back to like about 10 minutes every single, one block every single 10 minutes. And let's say if the difficulty drops, let's say, there's a sudden price crash or something, and suddenly people are like, oh man, I can't afford this. Or, in the case of the halvening where it gets cut in half, suddenly the value to mine the block gets cut in half. They're like, oh man, I can't really afford it. So a bunch of miners leave. The difficulty goes down too, to where, let's say it was like 15 minutes to mine a block, it'll go down to be 10 minutes. So it'll lower the difficulty again. I mean, it's crazy when you really think about this. This is all just code running. There's not a central entity. There's not like a CEO. There's nothing like that. In fact, the thing is, the creator of Bitcoin went by the name Satoshi Nakamoto, and a lot of people think it's some Japanese guy. The truth is, nobody knows who that is. They've tried to look for him. It's an anonymous person. No one knows who it is. They don't know if it's a man, woman, group of people. No one to this day knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. There's some people that will come out and claim to be him, such as, oh God, I can't remember his name now off the top of my head. There's this one New Zealand or Australian guy that's claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto, but he's a fucking liar. For example, like he can never really prove it. The way he could prove it is just using that original Bitcoin address and just sending a little bit of Bitcoin out just to prove it with a little message tied to it. That's another cool thing about it. You can actually tie little messages and text to Bitcoin transactions. He can't do that. The original Satoshi Nakamoto mined 1 million Bitcoin, and it's been sitting in the same address since the very beginning. So, I mean, it's not moved since 2009.
Yeah.
And no one knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. So no one can even access or, figure out how to get to it. Okay, so going back to this whole thing, that's kind of why the value of Bitcoin keeps going up. It goes up, it spikes up, and then it comes back down, crashes, and then it sits there for a while stagnant. And it's a great time to buy when it's doing that. People are scared. News articles come out saying Bitcoin is dead. You can actually Google like Bitcoin obituary, and there's like a thing tracking how many times people have written articles saying Bitcoin is dead at different prices throughout its history. And eventually, the halvening happens. Bitcoin supply gets cut in half. Suddenly, it becomes more valuable again because there's more hashing power going into it. Suddenly, the value, it goes up again. It does go up again to where it breaks its previous all-time highs every 4 years. It's always been a constant cycle. From 2009 to 2013, you could have gotten like over 1,000x of whatever money you put into it. And then from 2013 to 2016, well, I should say that top was 2013. It crashed in 2015. And then it slowly came back up 2016 and 2017. That December was at all time. It was at the highest point at the top of like 20,000. At that point, it went from like the peak at 2014 was 1,000. So then 2017, it was 20,000. So that was a 20x. Okay. So you're seeing kind of like it go down. And as far as like, you could have got 1,000x back in the day, and then it went to like 100x before that. And then I remember the last time, because I was involved with it then, it went, the previous peak was 1,000 in 2014, and then 2017 that peak was just under 20,000. So it's depreciating. That was a 20x. Okay. Well, at this point, we've gone from 20,000 previous peak, and we're currently at almost 60,000. That's only a 3x. And because of that, I don't think we're going to see another 20x. That'd be insane. But I do think we could see a 10x. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin hit 200,000 this year. Again, because of everything going on. There's a lot to it. 2017, there was a lot of retail buyers, mom and pops and whoever just getting into Bitcoin. I got into Bitcoin in July 2017. And excuse me, I got into it through mining, basically. And I really wish I just bought the coins, because when I got into it, I was near the tail end of that bull cycle. Okay. Bitcoin, like I said, is like a 4-year cycle. It goes like 3 years bear market and then 1 year bull market. And the bull year is like crazy. And this is that bull year we're kind of currently in. I was in the bull year in 2017. And it really took off from that January 2017, from I think just breaking back up to 1,000, and then by the end of that year going to 20,000. I started mining it in August of 2017, and was really balls deep with mining it by October 2017, to the point where I had graphics cards and ASIC miners, basically specific equipment that's made for mining that I was ordering and shit. I probably put $10,000 into it, not gonna lie to you. And don't use credit cards, because that's what I did. My problem is, had I bought that shit just directly instead of just buying the mining equipment, because the idea was, okay, these are money printing machines. This is me making money from graphics cards and whatever. That's free money. They'll pay themselves off.
Yeah.
Start running into issues with electricity cutting out, or my internet dropping. It was a nightmare, because I had so much money on the line for this. If I had just bought the coins, I would probably be better off than I am now. But the thing is, I learned a lot of lessons, and the one thing I learned was I came into it when it was really hot, and I came into it when the market was already very hot, kind of like how it is right now. Okay, and I'm not steering you away from it, so let me just kind of get through all this. So I realized, shit, I wish I just bought it, because then I watched it go from December 2017, it was near 20,000, and then December 2018, it was fucking 3,000. I watched this bitch drop from 85%, over 85%. But I did not sell, because I knew I could not afford to sell even at the significant loss, because I was in credit card debt, because I use credit cards. So I was like, for me, that was how I had diamond hands before diamond hands was a common phrase, because I was like, I've really had no fucking option. But I made a point to just learn, and I watched YouTube videos literally every day, watch the charts every single day. And just the thing I'll tell you is, Bitcoin is very irrational. It does not matter sometimes with technical analysis. I wouldn't try to day trade it. I've been there, I've done that. I've tried day trading it, I've tried doing all kinds of shit. And the safest thing to do is what you hear people say all the time: just buy and hold. Just hold that shit. Hold it, no matter what. And be able to be willing to just lose that money too. Be willing to watch it just all go zero. Not that I think it will, but be prepared to see an 85 to 90% drop. Okay. So that's the thing as far as specifically buying in Bitcoin versus mining and stuff. I'm just trying to tell you that don't get into mining Bitcoin. You can, it seems tempting, but don't do it. Okay. So let me get back on track here. So yeah, I'm just getting my background so you can kind of see where I'm coming from. I saw it go all the way down to 3,000 in 2018, and I saw it slowly come back up a little bit in 2019, and people are getting excited. It got up to 14K in 2019. People were thinking, this is it. But the thing is, we hadn't had the halvening yet. It was still another bear year. We went back down to 6K. Eventually, March 2020, with the coronavirus shit happening, it went down to 4K. So, but the thing is, we haven't seen a dump like that since March 2020. It's actually just been steadily going up. And I'm going to tell you what I was telling someone earlier. That actually kind of scares me, because it hasn't dropped in over a year. And when I say a drop, I mean, I usually expect a 35 to 40 to 50% correction at some point. So the important thing is don't put in more than you can afford to lose. If you need that money, if you think you're going to need that money in the next 3 to 6 months, don't put it in there. Okay. And also realize that if you want to invest in this, recognize that this is that bull year. Okay, there's no guarantees. I think conservatively, it will probably get to 100,000 by the end of this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if it got to 200,000 this year, based on all the math I was telling you about, the how it all works, the fundamentals and stuff. No government entity can stop you from buying and selling and trading and doing whatever with Bitcoin. Nobody can. Nobody can stop you from moving that money, and that's the thing that scares the hell out of you. It's literally censorship resistant. Okay, nobody can stop you from sending or receiving Bitcoin. Okay, they want to. They try to say it's used for drugs and terrorist activities and all kinds of bullshit. I mean, what do you think is laundered more and used for more like terrorist activities? US dollars or Bitcoin? I'll give you like one goddamn guess. So I mean, that's bullshit. This has been scare tactics.
Yeah,
I've seen CNBC just run all kinds of headlines about it. And
CNBC,
the one thing
they're the worst. I mean,
yeah. One thing I can tell you is whatever you see on CNBC, do the opposite. Okay. I promise you, whatever they say, if they're saying now's the best time ever to buy Bitcoin, no, it is not. Yeah. If they're saying Bitcoin is dead, it is not dead. I've watched it for 4 years now, man. Like I said, since 2017, and they have been the exact opposite every time. Okay, so you send Bitcoin, you can receive Bitcoin. That's the whole thing. Is like it's just a ledger. Yeah. It's just a system for transferring money and value. And the thing is, because there is a fixed cap supply of 21 million, no matter what, that means that nobody can just override the code like, okay, no, we want more Bitcoin. You can't make more than 21 million. It's never going to happen. In fact, the last bit of Bitcoin to ever be mined will be in about 100 years from now. So I'll be dead. You might still be alive, barely, but I mean, that's when it's going to be like the last freshly minted Bitcoin will have been mined. Now, there's still some like transaction fees that you have to pay when moving Bitcoin. So what happens is when people get their transactions put in blocks, they do pay sort of like a fee to the miners, kind of like a tip. And so that helps kind of, stimulate, because we've got these stimulus checks, they help stimulate those blocks being formed. And I'm thinking, in my opinion, when this guy created this code, he thought in his head that by the time we get to that point where there's no more freshly minted Bitcoin, the blockchain should still be running on its own without the new Bitcoin, because the mining fees will be enough to where it'll cover the cost and make it worth it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And at that point, no more inflation either. If anything, people will lose Bitcoin over the years because they've lost track of their wallet addresses or access to this and that. Because here's the thing: when you send Bitcoin, like let's say if you send Bitcoin to me, for example, but let's say you fuck up and like mistype the address, you cannot recover that. You cannot reverse that transaction. You cannot freeze it in place or anything. It is fucking gone to that address. And whoever has the address is lucky enough to have it. Now, let's say you did send it to a correct address, like you really did send it to me, or let's say a third party. Like let's say you buy something online, then you have to be able to trust that entity, because if they say, no, fuck you, I'm just going to keep your Bitcoin, not send you your product or whatever, or service, there's nothing you can do to stop that. Yeah. You can't call like the Bear Business Bureau. You can't do anything about it. If it's just like some anonymous entity or address, then there's no way anybody can get your Bitcoin back for you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that serious. So it's kind of like sticking cash in an envelope and mailing it to someone, to an address. You hope it gets there. The thing is, it will get there. That's not the problem. You just need to make sure you've got the right address. Okay. Because nobody.
Is that like that thing that like would turns a lot of people off from Bitcoin, is like, they don't want to purchase something with Bitcoin because they could like just potentially lose it completely, the money?
I don't know, because that's the same thing. Like, you have to think to yourself, would you rather have cash or would you rather have like a banking account? That's the kind of the same situation where It's really up to you. You are your own custodian of your money. There's no one that's going to be able to bail you out if you happen to send it to the wrong address or something like that. There's no way to fix that, okay? Because it's kind of like literally cash. It's literally like, okay, this is your money. If you've got $20 in your pocket, you go out and you accidentally drop that $20, no one's going to give you $20 cash to make up for that, Like, it's the same thing.
I've heard of I've seen Bitcoin Cash. What's that? What's that all about?
Okay, I'll talk to you about that too. Let's go ahead and jump to that. So there's obviously Bitcoin. Bitcoin's kind of like your blue chip stock, right? That's the one that you can really count on as always being around because it's got so much hashing power. It's got such a long history. It's going to stick around no matter what. Bitcoin will be around long after even all these governments are gone. I'm telling you, like, I'm not trying to sound like an anarchist, but like, it's going to be around forever. It'll be around longer than you and I for sure. So if let's say, okay, let me give an example. There's other coins out there. There's some that are created like brand new on their own programming and code, like Etherium, for example. It's nothing really like Bitcoin. It's more like if you had like a cloud-based computer running all this stuff and doing these, like, it's like an online computer basically. It's basically an online computer that's always running, that's doing stuff. Not like an AI, but more just like MS-DOS. Okay. Yeah. It's kind of like that. It's always running. And that's Ethereum. Now, Ethereum has value, obviously, because, there's certain fees you have to pay back and forth in Ethereum to make some of these programs work. These apps. Let's say you've heard, I don't know if you're dApps, digital apps, but, there's programs called dApps on Ethereum. It's almost like apps on your phone. They run on Ethereum. Okay. Now, that's their own thing. That's not Bitcoin code. That's like their own code that a guy named Vitalik Buterin, who I think is like Russian or something, he actually made that. Okay. Like, he programmed it. He's like a genius, like 200 IQ person. You know what I'm saying? Like, he figured this out basically. Yeah. It still runs with people mining Ethereum. So it's kind of like, everyone has the same consensus where they do blocks, like a blockchain, like Bitcoin. Yeah. But it's more like a computer that happens to have Ethereum as like the thing that's like a currency to transact with. Okay. So that's one way you can make your own cryptocurrency. The other way is what's called forking the code. Okay. So what I mean by forking is Bitcoin is not the exact same code as it was in 2009. There's been changes that have been made over the years to kind of help improve things and stabilize things, maybe speed up transactions and stuff like that. So what happens is if you want to make a change to the code of Bitcoin, you have to do what's called a BIP, a Bitcoin Improvement Proposal. Okay. And what that is you basically just introduce this change, and the community of miners, and there's a few big ones, but there's a lot. Basically, everyone has to basically agree that, yeah, I think this change is a good idea to the code. Let's do it. And they mine blocks on that new code for it, and usually it's pretty smooth, and everyone kind of like abandons the previous code that had the slight change to it. Okay. Well, sometimes there's a contention. Sometimes it's a little bit contested, and there's a little bit of disagreement. No, I think we should do this. No, I think we should do that within that community of miners. So if that happens, we call that a hard fork. A soft fork is the previous one where everyone kind of agrees, yeah, I think this change we agree with this change. And then there's what we call hard forks, where some people, it's kind of, it's more split, like, oh no, I think we should increase the block size so more transactions can go in. No, I don't think we should do that. There's a disagreement there. And that's essentially what happens when you have a fork. Okay. The code literally forks off. Okay. So Bitcoin Cash was created in 2017 because one person named Roger Ver, used to be a big time Bitcoiner, decided, no, I think we should increase the block size. And then the core people were like, no, I think we should keep the block size the same. Okay. Arguing that, well, we need to make it faster by increasing the block size so more transactions can get in. the core Bitcoin people were like, no, we don't want to do that. We don't think that's really a good solution for that problem. So they forked off, and that forked off to become Bitcoin Cash. Okay. Bitcoin Cash, the whole idea behind it was to be like a more usable Bitcoin for like everyday transactions, like to get a cup of coffee and stuff. I'm gonna go and tell you right now, Bitcoin Cash is trash. Okay. It's a shit coin. That's what we call it. We call it B Cash. It's fucking trash. Okay. It's not going to be digital gold. In fact, the son of a bitch, it's so much more centralized. Okay. Way more centralized as far as mining goes, like by one or two single entities, that the son of a bitch, Roger Ver, the guy I was talking about, actually at one point, maybe a year and a half ago, actually proposed and almost made it happen that he was going to pay fucking 30% tax on miners to go towards like his foundation or whatever. And everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, it was bullshit. And there's been a lot of infighting and stuff with his group of people that are Bitcoin Cash people. I'm telling you, it's a shit show. Like, here's the thing. If the US government wanted to shut down Bitcoin Cash, they could. They know the guy in charge. It's Roger Ver. They can't stop Bitcoin because no one knows who the hell created Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Bitcoin Cash is trash. I remember, again, I got in August 2017 really deep, and that's when Bitcoin Cash was created too. And I had the same confusion. It's not the same thing at all. Okay. Don't ever send Bitcoin to a Bitcoin Cash address. Don't ever receive Bitcoin Cash to a Bitcoin address. It's not the same. It's a totally different entity. And that's a problem we see a lot in cryptocurrency too. There's a lot of tribalism. Like, oh no, this is the real Bitcoin. No, this is the real Bitcoin. Like there's a lot of tribalism, which is stupid. A lot of people saying, oh no, this coin is going to be the next. It's going to be the Bitcoin killer. Like there's a bunch of shit like that. Just fucking like almost like rooting for their own home football teams. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a bunch of stupid nerd shit like that. I don't know why they just can't get on the same page and just try to work together, because in the end we all kind of want the same thing, all these people in the cryptocurrency, but these people that back different coins and say no, this is the real way to do it, we all want the same thing. It's just I think the means is different. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody can really agree on the best way to do it. So that's what Bitcoin Cash is. Litecoin, I don't know if you've seen or heard that one. That one's also a fork from Bitcoin. The only difference between Litecoin and Bitcoin is that Litecoin has 4 times the supply, and it has like 4 times the amount of released Litecoin every block. But everything else is still the same. Every 4 years it halves and everything else. I will say this, Litecoin's okay. I mean, Litecoin is definitely cheaper, and it's actually faster because they do have a couple things implemented on Litecoin that Bitcoin doesn't have yet. Like for one thing, Litecoin started creating this thing called the Lightning Network, which is basically really fast transactions, like almost instantly. And eventually Bitcoin adopted it. And it's not full adoption yet with Bitcoin, but it is, I think, with Litecoin are pretty close to full adoption. So Litecoin's kind of like a test bed. Like when they want to try stuff out, since it's so close to Bitcoin, Litecoin's almost been treated like a test bed to try new things on the code. And if it works out really well, then they put Bitcoin almost. It's kind of weird. Like it's a weird relationship like that. People like to think of it as like silver for Litecoin, and Bitcoin is like the gold, for example. And you'll see some other Bitcoin knockoffs like Bitcoin Gold. There's Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin shit. I mean, just Bitcoin. Okay. And if you ever have doubts, look up, make sure the little ticker is BTC. Okay. Not BCH, that's Bitcoin Cash. Not BTG, that's Bitcoin Gold. Just BTC. There are some exchanges like that are really trustworthy that for some reason they use the ticker XBT, but it's still Bitcoin. And just do your research on that. But yeah, so Bitcoin's the safest reason for that, because every 4 years, man, that supply is getting cut down. The 2017 was all the retail investors getting involved, like myself, like my dad, and a lot of people dropped off. I tried to tell my dad, hey, buy Bitcoin. Hey, at 4,000, Dad, now's a good time to buy Bitcoin. He's like, no, I can share the text messages. No, so I don't want to do it. It's just I'm done through with Bitcoin shit. It's a scam. Like he's like seriously thought that it was a scam and was never coming back multiple times. My friend Iman that used to live in Alabama, he got into Bitcoin. Damn it, dude. I've got the text message still. In December this past year, just now, motherfucker, he sold all of his Bitcoin, all of his Litecoin when Bitcoin was at 17,500. And he's trying to convince me to sell mine. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Because it had just gotten close. It had gotten close to it. It got close to this previous all time. I'm like, dude, are you crazy? And at the time I was thinking, yeah, it could go back down to like 10 or 12,000, but I really don't know that. I think it should. He's like, well, if you think it should, you should sell. I'm like, dude, here's the question I presented him. And it's the same one I would present to you. Would you be more mad if you, well, I phrased it for selling, so I'm more phrase it for you for buying. Would you be more mad right now at yourself if you bought Bitcoin and it went down in price? Or would you be more mad at yourself if you did not buy Bitcoin and it went up in price? That's the thing you kind of have to think about. And at the time when I was buying it like 4,000 to 6,000 in that range, real heavy in 2018 and 2019.
Yeah.
Dude, I was doing everything to make money because I saw this as like, this is the way, like Mandalorian, like this is the way
right now.
So I started doing Uber because I teach full time and I can pay the bills on my teaching salary. But granted, it wasn't enough. I wanted to make more because it was so tight in paying those credit cards off. So I started doing Uber. I started selling shit. I started doing literally everything I could do in my power to make as much money. And every time I did, I just threw it into Bitcoin. That's all I did for like the past 3 years. I just kept throwing it into Bitcoin.
Me and my friend, we just went and bought a trailer today. We split the price on it, and we are just going to people's houses and doing whatever type of work they want us to do, move furniture, take furniture. And we'll, like, if they want us to take furniture to the junkyard for them, we'll like take it and then we'll sell it. And we made a kill. We made $800 today, and every single penny I've made the past like week, I've just put into investment. Like,
100%, 100%, man. That's the way to do it. And that's really what it is. Like right now, you need to understand that, like I said, though, that it hasn't come down in price since March 2020, and it's coming up to a year. And I don't know what's going to happen. I would be very surprised if we went from here to 100,000 without any serious dips. And when I'm saying a serious dip, I'm saying at least a 30 to 35% correction, at least.
And at this
so
point,
without
30,000 or something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it go somewhere down between 20 and 25,000 to scare the hell out of people and make people like, with soft, weak hands get out. Because that's what Bitcoin does. Almost treat it like it's a damn entity. That's what it does, though. I'm telling you. Just when you think it can't go lower, it does. Just when you think it can't go higher, it does. Every freaking time, dude.
Yeah.
Like constantly. It's always been like that. So sometimes technical analysis doesn't matter. You can try to buy low and you can try to buy low, you can try to sell high, but dude, I'm telling you, it's not that easy. It's really like you think, okay, this is the high point, but then it keeps going up. Yeah. So I've got a lot of experience with buying. I've got almost no experience with selling. You know what I'm saying? Because I've not been doing much selling. So right now, I'm getting scared,
Yeah.
I'm getting nervous because I'm thinking, shit, should I sell now? So I'm starting to ask myself that same question. The same thing that I was asking Iman in December. I was like, when it was 17,000, he was telling me to sell. I was like, dude, would you be more mad at yourself if you sold now and it went up? Or would you be more mad at yourself if you sold now and it went down? So I guess he felt like, well, his idea was, well, it's okay. I made a little bit more plus breaking even if it doesn't go down. So I'll be happy. I guarantee you he's not fucking happy right now. I mean, but he didn't really follow it like I did. So, he wasn't really keeping up with it. And he would just kind of say something whenever Bitcoin would drop like 35% or something, which happens it would happen like every 3 or 6 months. So I don't know, man. I mean, the safest way you can buy this, there's a strategy called dollar cost average. I'm going to share my screen in a second here and pull up a Photoshop thing so I can kind of draw this out. Might be a little bit easier to explain here. Give me 1 second here. All right. So do you know what dollar cost average is?
Dollar cost average, isn't that the average like the average money you put into like any stock, right?
Yeah, sort of. That's kind of like the idea. So let me just make this. Let me just make this so you can see it on here. I'm gonna draw it out here. Okay. So, all right. So let's say, can you see this white screen?
Yeah, I see the white screen.
Okay. So I'm gonna just use some nice, easy round numbers here.
Okay.
For now. So let's say you've got $800. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say like you just got $800 a day. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you already put that in Bitcoin, or what have you done with it? Anything?
It's just cash in my pocket right now.
Okay.
We got to split it. I have 400, but
okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna use 800 because it's a little bit easier to explain here in just a second. Okay. To dollar cost average, what I would do, DCA, the typical strategy would be to simply take a little bit of money and put a little bit every single week on the same day, every single week, no matter what. Okay. Mm-hmm. Typically for Bitcoin, the best day to put money to buy Bitcoin is on Friday. I say that, but look what it did today. It's gone but okay. So here's the idea. Dollar cost average. The way I would do this, it's a little bit modified. Okay. So I'm going to put a little star here. Dollar cost average is putting in money every single week, whatever you can, every single week. This is a modified strategy. Okay. Take the 800. All right. Or whatever amount, I'm just doing this for nice, easy numbers. And you're going to divide it by 2. Okay. So you're going to have 400 here. This is the investment strategy I'm currently giving to my friends for this particular point in time with where we are at in the market with this being a bull year. Okay. So you've split in 2. Okay. Now, what you do with this 400 over here is every Friday, I don't know how to spell this out, but I'm going to do it anyways. Every Friday, you're going to put in $100. Okay. Mm-hmm. Statistically speaking, over the past 10 or 11 years, Bitcoin is the lowest price it's going to be for the week on Friday. Okay. Tuesday is the second highest or second best day, second lowest day of the week. Now, that's not always guaranteed. Like today, we saw it go up from like 54 to like 56,000, Yeah. So, and lower, it was lower earlier this week, like around 52 or 53. So it's not guaranteed, but statistically, it will be Friday is your best day. Okay. So $100 per week. Okay. So if there's 4 weeks in a month, then every month you'll have $400 in Bitcoin invested per month. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now you're doing that regardless. Okay. You're doing that no matter what. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is what I would do. And you can do the math later here for however much money you want to put in. Going back to this other $400. Okay. Let's say this is a month. Every month we're doing this. Okay. This whole thing is for a month. So you're putting $100 every week. Okay. And that ends up with $400 invested every month for Fridays. Okay. Well, let's say every month you're also putting aside this 400 here on the right side. You're setting it, you're putting it in like savings. Okay. Save it. Okay. And then every month you're going to get $400 more or whatever and put in savings. Okay. Mm-hmm. Again, use your own numbers for whatever you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you see a 30 to 40% dip, you're going to buy that shit up. Okay. You're going to scale in, you know, you're going to scale in 10% of your cash.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's getting kind of hard to read. Basically, like I would estimate every 5 to 10%. Every, as far as drop goes, every 5 to 10% drop. Okay. So you have this money pile. You have this money pile here that's you've been holding it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's been building up. As soon as you see a 30 to 40% dip, you start throwing money in 10% for every like 5 or 10%. Okay. If you see it get closer to the 40 to even 50% side, if it gets on that high end, I would start throwing all of it. Okay. All the cash that you've got reserved in this honey pot here, stick it all in. Okay. You're buying the dip at that point. Okay. This is a strategy for just this year. Okay. Just for this year. This is the absolute safest way to do investing right now for this bull market that we're right now. You've got over here on the left side, you've got your kind of like your investment that's building slowly with time. It's going to keep you from FOMOing in, from feeling like you're missing out. Because okay, I'm getting this, and you have to be disciplined with it. Okay. I used $800 here, but it might be for you $400 a month, whatever you're comfortable with every single month. Okay. If it was $400 every month that you have that you can put towards Bitcoin, then you would split it off 200 and 200 and follow the same strategy, just $50 a week and putting the other half over in your savings. I'm telling my friends to do this. It's the safest way. This is the way to do it for this bull year right now. Okay. When we do eventually see a huge market crash, where we suddenly see a huge blow off top and it spikes down to 80% or more, then this strategy I wouldn't recommend anymore. I would just basically do this part over here once we see our huge like blow off top, Bitcoin crashing like 85% or something. Okay. 70 to 80%. I would just do this part. But right now, I mean, we're still anticipating a dip, not a crash, but a dip of like probably 40, maybe even 50%. All right. I don't know when that's going to happen, but that's kind of what I'm expecting. It may not happen though. And that would be scary because I'll put it to you this way. It's like, when you run up a hill or a mountain, you don't necessarily want to run straight up that mountain. You get tired out quickly and you won't have as much energy by the time you get to the top. Usually you want to take the side trails that wind back and forth. And sometimes those trails go up and down a little bit. And that's fine. It might take a little bit longer, but you'll end up going up higher and have more energy. Okay. Well, if we're going up straight up this hill, climbing straight up this chart right now, I'm going to share. I'm going to stop sharing this. Do you have this? Do you need to take a screenshot or anything?
I'll take a picture.
Okay. Get this out of the way. I'm going to switch screens here in just a second. Okay. So let me share something else here. Let me share some chart stuff. I think this is it, maybe. Let's see. Okay.
Etherium is over 2,000 now.
Oh fuck! Is that serious? Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, so I'll show you. You can get a little sneak peek of what I've got going. Now, this isn't all my investments. This is about 40% of my current. Oops, let me get to the right chart here. This is on Bittrex. Can you see this different chart that I just pulled up here?
It's not on my screen. No.
Okay, you don't see it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, why is this not sharing? See, I'm still learning how to use Zoom too.
Yeah, I barely use it.
Okay, so, oh, I see. Okay, let me share this. I didn't hit the button. There, now you can see it. Okay, so this is Coinbase Pro. Let me ask you, what app do you use right now?
I use Binance.
Okay, that's fine. Binance is a solid choice too. This is Coinbase Pro. It's just what I'm used to. I use this because it is a US based exchange, but Binance is just as good, honestly. They're based out of China or Hong Kong or something, so I'm a little bit iffy about that. But like if these people went under, then the SEC could go after them. I don't know if they could with Binance. So, all right, so just a little bit of different format here. So I'll let you get a sneak peek. That's exciting, man. We hit $2,000. Hell yes. Okay, so let's see. I have a total of about 5.87 Ethereum. I went ahead and put 2.87 Ethereum on my Coinbase Pro account here. So got a little bit there. Let's see. I just did this today because I was getting worried about you know how I talked about the blockchain and I talked about transactions. I was worried I wouldn't be able to get my Bitcoin and stuff on here if it got clogged up. So let me see. This isn't reflecting everything I got. Let me see. I want to make sure there's no issues too. Okay, yeah. So I've got about 33,000 here right now. And yeah, I put 0.4 Bitcoin in here, 2.7 Ethereum, 17 Litecoin. These are the ones I kind of stick with, but I've got a few others as well. That's awesome though. So I use this, but of course, anyways, let me show you the chart that I was trying to show you. Okay. Let me go to Bitcoin. Okay, so this is, let me zoom in here. This is a weekly chart. Let me switch to a daily, or let me switch to an hourly chart if you'll let me go back far enough. It may not let me. This is, I'm going back to 2017 here, okay?
Okay.
Just bear with me here. It'll be worth it. If it'll let me, it may not. Okay. Let me go to the daily chart. Each candle is 1 day. Okay, perfect. So this is when I got into Bitcoin, and it was going up like crazy. Okay. So this is July, and then keeps going up. August is when I was really into it right here. This particular dip right here scared the living shit out of me. I was thinking, oh God, it's over. I'll never forget this day. Litecoin was $30 and Bitcoin, as you can see, was down below 3,000. I was driving to school that morning. I was putting my finger on the button to buy, and I was like, I don't know if I should buy. And this is my first time, kind of like where you're at right now. I saw this dip, and that was about 40% dip. Okay. So almost half of a dip, because it made it all the way up here to almost 5,000, came down. And then, I didn't buy there, but I did buy along there. It kept going up, 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 up. It took off right here like crazy. Spiked up, and came down a little bit here. At this point, it was like 12K, okay, at the low point. And then came down lower. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. I'm sorry. See, it happened so fast. Okay, each of these candles is 1 day, okay? So it spiked up past 8,000, 9,000, over 10,000, kept going. And then literally, okay, so it went from December 5th, 2017, it went from 11,677, and then literally, so December 6th, 7th, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it got up to 17,000 in a week.
Wow.
And it shot just a little bit more, and this is kind of where we saw a huge blow off top right here, 20K. Then it spiked down. All right, and then there was a reaction to a bounce here because it spiked down. So it went all the way down to 11K, spiked back up to 16, and people are getting hopeful again. It came up a little bit higher, and then down, and it broke this line here. It went down further. Everyone's like, "Oh shit!" And then it went down, 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 all the way down to 6K, 6.5K. People got excited. Again, keep in mind that each of these is one day. Okay, we're in 2018. Oh, almost broke up here, came back down again even more. Okay, and people are like, "What the hell?" Okay, it's right here. Okay, that 6,000, that might be a good right here. This might be the bomb. 6,400. Okay, it's fighting to get back up. Oh, it's stimming. It's stalling out here, and then bam. Oh, it's coming. It's fighting. Oh, it came down past that support line that we saw there.
Wow.
Crashed down. Okay, it's coming back up. Oh no, it's coming back down. It's trying to get back up. Oh, okay, it did. Great. Good. Yes. This is it. We're doing good. Okay, we got back up to 8.5. Oh no, it's coming back down. So eventually we have all this happening, and then everyone's like thinking, okay, $6,000, that's safe. Okay, that's about right here. Let me draw a line there for you to see. Everyone's kind of thinking, okay, around here, that line, that's a safe bet. Yeah. Oh, and then that's where we saw it go all the way down from there down all the way to $3,000 that I told you about. Okay. I did not sell shit during this. Okay. I saw my portfolio get cut in half. So I'm saying that because, yeah, eventually it worked out. I bought, was doing Uber, buying, doing Uber and stuff, putting all the money into it. And it did eventually work out. Okay. My dollar cost average, we got all the way back up here to 14K. People are excited. This is it, guys. Bear market over. We got this. Oh, wait, we're stalling out. Oh, no, not like this, guys. No. Oh, no. And it just, they're struggling. Bam, back down here. COVID hit. And, like eventually this was resistance. It broke past it. Suddenly there's support. Got back up trying to get past 14K. Bam. Broke past that. Okay, next stop, 20,000. Bam. So keep in mind, though, we haven't seen a dip since 41,000 down all the way to almost 28,000. That was a 30% dip. I am really, you see where we're at right now with this? Like, look at that. It should be coming down. At some point, it should be coming down something like this, before it takes off again.
Where do you think if it would be without COVID, interfering? Because it feels like, obviously, since it took off after COVID, it seems like if COVID never happened, it would have gone up even higher at this point. Where do you think it would be now?
Well, look at this. I mean, COVID was way back here. Okay. COVID was down here. Well, that's not really, when you look at it this way from this perspective, it didn't have that much of an impact because after COVID, it came right here. And you got to remember that the halvening happened, that last halvening where the supply got cut in half, it happened. Let me use a different color here. Right about here. Okay. COVID was, right here. So, I mean, yeah, it had an impact because when the market came down, everything came down. Yeah. But honestly, I think if COVID never happened, it would have probably just done maybe something like this, honestly. I mean, I don't think it really had that much of an impact. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't put all your money into it once. Because it could go up and down. And I do think that, yeah, we're going to see, if I had to guess, we're going to see a lot of struggle to break past 60K. Okay. I really do think that, and that's based on a different website, Get to Know Bitcoin. I think that's what it is. I haven't looked at it for a while. Get to Know Bitcoin. This is a great website that gives you, if you ever want to look at like the technical shit, like how it all works. Let's see if I can find if this is it. Let me look at Bitcoin stock to flow. I can find it that way. Stock to flow. Look into Bitcoin. Okay, that's what it was. My bad. Okay, so there are different, here we go. There's different data here, okay? This particular model, if I can zoom in, that'd be great. Okay, so that's as big as I can get, really. Actually, yeah, there we go. So this particular model is looking at how much Bitcoin there is and the difficulty chart, okay? Like how much is coming out days until next halvening. So what we're seeing here, and this is a logarithmic chart too, meaning it's based on percentage and not the specific dollar price. So back in 2012, the bluer colors means like we're about to have a halvening, okay? The red means 1,400 days until next halvening. Okay, that's kind of like you can see on the right side here. So this is all about, how I talked about the hash rate and difficulty and all that stuff. And I realize this is a lot of information. That's why I'm recording. So if you want to look back on this stuff, you can. Okay, so we've got a halvening right here, and we've got another one right here, and we have our most recent one right here. Okay, this model, this stock to flow line, there's a lot of math involved here. You can read about it later, but basically what happens is this is all based on, well, I'll just read it for you here. This model treats Bitcoin as being comparable to commodities such as gold, silver, platinum. These are known as store of value commodities because they retain value over long time frames due to their relative scarcity. It is difficult to significantly increase your supply, i.e. the process of searching for gold and then mining it is expensive and takes time. Bitcoin is similar because it is also scarce. In fact, it is the first ever scarce digital object to exist. There are a limited number of coins in existence. It will take a lot of electricity and computing effort to mine the 3 million outstanding coins still to be mined. Therefore, the supply rate is consistently low. Stock to flow ratios are used to evaluate the current stock of a commodity, total amount of currently available, against the flow of new production, amount mined in that specific year. With a store of value commodities like gold, platinum, or silver, a high ratio indicates that they are mostly not consumed in industrial applications. Instead, the majority is stored as a monetary hedge, thus driving up the stock to flow ratio. A higher ratio indicates that the commodity is increasingly scarce and therefore more valuable as a store of value. So how to view this chart? On the above chart, price is overlaid on top of the stock to flow ratio line. We can see that the prices continue to follow the stock to flow of Bitcoin over time. The theory, therefore, suggests that we can project where price may go by observing the projected stock to flow line, which can be calculated as we know the approximate mining schedule of future Bitcoin mining. Every 10 minutes a new block gets released, and we know when each halving is approximately happening as well. The colored dots on the price line of this chart show the number of days until the next Bitcoin halving event. This is an event, we already talked about that. The stock to flow line on this chart incorporates a 365-day average into the model to smooth out the changes caused in the market by the halving events. So, okay, the way you read this is basically the price of Bitcoin will follow this line, okay? So the color line is the actual price of Bitcoin, and this is all on a logarithmic scale, so percentage based. Because the supply gets cut in half by a percentage every 4 years, this theory says that basically it's supposed to follow this, okay? And it's got 10 years worth of data on here where it's followed this price. Sometimes it goes above the stock to flow line. When it's in prices like this, when it's at points like this above the line, that's a good time to sell. Like right here, it was above. It was been a great time to sell here. And, around 2018, 2017, December 2017, January 2018, it would have been a great time to sell. Even here, when for some reason it spiked up to 14,000 in 2019 that I showed you earlier, that would have been a great time to sell. Alternatively, buying here, and after that big 6,000 to 3,000 dump that I showed you where it just dropped, that would have been a great time to buy. I mean, it's so below that line. Same thing here, March 2020, after the COVID thing happened, it would have been a great time to buy. Right now, we're here. Okay, so we're like literally right on track with where we're supposed to be. Okay, we are right here. And every day a new dot gets put on this chart. So based on this model, I mean, we should, and the it tries to be as accurate as possible. We'll probably be at. It predicts we should be at $82,000 by this May. Okay. Now we could blow past it and go up here somewhere to like, I think that's like 200K or something. I will zoom out for a second if it'll let me. It may not. Let's see here. Let me auto scale. Okay, so it's not really working. Hang on, let me refresh this whole thing real quick. That'll probably be the easiest way. All right. Okay, so if we look at it here, I'm gonna draw this out here, but you see how we went past that line over here?
Yeah.
And we did the same thing back here.
Yeah.
It's happening less frequently, but there's a chance we could blow past this line, this red line here, to like somewhere up here.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens, let me just kind of figure out where that'd be. That'd be roughly about a $250,000 Bitcoin right here. Mm-hmm. If it pulls one of these moves like it did back here and here and here and here, like it could happen. So, I mean, this is just one of many different models they've got. They've got a few other things here that are really great. I like that one a lot. This is going to be kind of what I use to tell me when the hell do I need to get out. So here's another chart that people like to look at, the growth curves. Now, what this shows is something kind of similar to what we just looked at with that rainbow colored chart. And the idea here on this one, if they even tell us, something to do. So Bitcoin's always kind of stayed in this range of these bands, okay? Mm-hmm. If it comes down low, it's surprising if it does that. Like here in March 2020, it came down below these bands, which is kind of like a very weird situation, all right? But for the most part, it's always kind of, the top has always been just under that big thick line. And we'll zoom in here too. This is the kind of shit I wanted to show Papa, but Papa didn't really understand. Mm-hmm. So, the top, here's why I'm worried about spiking up too fast, okay? Mm-hmm. If it spikes up, and let's say by March it hits 100,000, that could be very well our top, okay? That very well could be our very top of the entire cycle. Mm-hmm. But if it takes a little bit longer, there's a higher top for us, basically. And let me refresh again because I want to zoom back out. Okay, so that's why I'm kind of worried. Like, I want to go all the way out here. It doesn't even go that far. Look at that. Let me see here. The further this goes out, you get the idea. The further this goes out, the better position we're going to be in. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to work out better for us. That's why I'm worried about spiking up too much. So there's a bunch here. Again, this is lookintobitcoin.com. They've got really good charts. It's all based on math, science, stuff that's, by smarter people than me, honestly. I mean, here's another great one. Bitcoin wallet sizes. So this is number of addresses, wallet addresses that are holding more than one Bitcoin. You can see that, people are accumulating. Here's the price in blue, and here's the number of addresses with at least one Bitcoin. And you're seeing it was easier early on to get at least one Bitcoin. But as we're moving out here, you see it's flattening out. It's getting harder to accumulate that one Bitcoin. It's going to continue to get harder. Eventually, we might even see that orange line go down to where less people have one whole Bitcoin than before. So
how is if like the US dollar, if we had like inflation with the currency, how would that interact with like Bitcoin and the price of Bitcoin,
Well, you tell me, what do you think would happen? If, let's say, they inflate the US dollar, much like they did in 2020, where they printed 22% of all US dollars ever created, how do you think that would affect the price of Bitcoin?
I feel like what happened is, I feel like for at least a moment, people would be able to, invest a lot in to Bitcoin, but then I feel like it would correct itself, and then the value of Bitcoin would adjust accordingly.
when you say correct, do you think the price of Bitcoin would come down, or do you think it would come up? Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, because, okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing about dollars, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what exactly is the value of a dollar? Like, ask yourself, where does it get value from? What makes a dollar worth a dollar?
It's kind of just like playing pretend. Like, you just give it value because, like, I don't know, like,
Because,
like play
yeah,
money kid, it's the same
the
thing.
U.S. government tells you it is worth a dollar, right?
Yeah.
They say this is worth a dollar. They go to war to tell other people, hey, we are the global standard currency. This is a dollar. This is the currency you're going to use when you base everything coming out of your country. They go to war over this shit, literally. The value of a dollar is based on nothing more than the government saying it is worth a dollar. A dollar is a dollar, because there's no gold backing it anymore. That stopped with Richard Nixon doing away with that back in the 60s, I think, or 70s. I can't remember which. My history is off. But Nixon took us off the gold standard. And ever since then, we've seen inflation go up and up because, hey, there's really nothing to stop the Federal Reserve to continue printing money. The Federal Reserve doesn't hold nearly as much gold as it used to. And they just figured, hey, we can just print now. They can print as much money as they want, but they only print it. They control the faucet. They control the faucet of how much goes in, comes out, and they can crank up the faucet so more and more money comes out of the faucet. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking water faucet, for example. They can turn on the faucet and make more money come out. So much money is everywhere circulating that the rates, when you go to a bank to get a house or a car loan or something, the rates become cheaper and cheaper because banks are able to loan out more money. And the banks, let's say the interest rate is 1% from the Federal Reserve, okay? And then the U.S. government is going to loan that money out to banks for 1.5%. Okay. So they collect 0.5% from that. And then the banks are going to loan you money for 2%. So they're collecting 0.5%. And that's when you're just paying back all of it, including that 2%. Do you see how that works?
Yeah.
That's how money works in this country. It's fucked. It's really fucked. And the whole time, the Federal Reserve, the U.S. government, if the Federal Reserve is loaning it out to them, to the government at 1%, they give them $10. How the fuck are they going to get $11? They have to borrow more money to pay off the debt. So this is where it's really fucked. And this is where inflation comes from, man. Normally inflation, the value of the dollar normally goes down by 2% every year, which sounds crazy, but like literally in 10 years, that could be like 20%, which sounds crazy. They get around it. I went to Subway today. I remember there was $5 footlongs. Not anymore. It's like $6 footlongs.
Yeah.
But you look at other ways, you might think, well, I know like my jar of peanut butter hasn't gone up in price. Well, have you looked at the bottom underneath the peanut butter jar? Because if you ever look underneath the peanut butter jar, there's a big curve, like a little dome shape, where they're actually cutting out a lot of how much you're actually getting in that jar of peanut butter. That's a way of kind of like giving you less for the same price without you realizing it. If you open up a bag of chips, it's not filled up all the way with chips. There's a lot of air in there. I'm telling you, these are ways that companies are kind of like, hiding the fact that there's inflation from you. And it's not like they're trying to do it intentionally to hide it. They're trying to make money. I don't blame companies. I blame the fact that there's all this inflation. So with that being said, that normally there's there's a 2% inflation every year. What the fuck do you think is going to happen after the government just printed 22% of the entire money supply ever to exist in the United States or the world last year alone? What the hell do you think is going to happen?
I guess, I don't see how inflation hasn't already occurred, now.
It takes time. It won't happen fast. But it's going to go, the price of everything from gas to milk to everything you get is going to go up. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. It could, but I'd be surprised if it did that. It's going to be over the next like 5 to 10 years. you're going to see prices on everything go up. Okay, including Bitcoin, but everything's going to go up. Everything you use on a regular daily basis is going to go up, and it's going to be in such a way that, you know, maybe that milk gallon is shrunk down a little bit. Maybe that, you know, like I said, that peanut butter jar, maybe that amount in that peanut butter jar is reduced. Maybe they don't fill up as much. Maybe that curve is a little bit bigger underneath. There's going to be ways like that where, you know, you're going to be getting less for your dollar. Now, you're not going to be able to always, yeah, they're not going to be able to cover up the whole 22%. You know, I'm not saying the value of the dollar is going to go down by 22%, but it's definitely going to happen over like the next 5 to 10 years for sure, on top of the regular inflation.
You know, they're fighting like fast food workers to get, you know, $15 to be the minimum wage. And I'm like, that's just, I feel like that just, you know, speeds up inflation, because if everybody has more money, then.
Well, yeah, and the thing about that too is the same thing. You know, you're talking about $15 an hour. They can't even fucking get my order right still. I literally go through and get 2 fucking Big Macs every Sunday night with my best friend before we play Smash Brothers all night. We still can't get the fucking orders right. Okay, you're going to see some of that reflected in the. If they pay $15 an hour, you're going to see a couple things happen. One, the first obvious thing is you're going to see less workers. I know you've heard that before, I'm sure, but there'll be less employees actually working. I've already seen at a new Taco Bell that was built near my house that they've got like big like screen prompts now that are basically, when you first walk in, you can go to the counter, or there's 2 like big ass touch screens that you can go to and put all your order in. So those people are going to have their jobs replaced. Do what?
All the new McDonald's that they like build now all have that, like 3 like screens that you just order at. And
because they're planning, they know this is coming. If Biden puts $15 an hour in, like he's saying he wants to, I mean, this has been an argument a long time. People are going to lose jobs, either that or they're going to get less hours for the people that do still have jobs. And so, yeah, you're going to, that way you will still probably see some kind of increase in price in goods, but it's not going to be the full impact of that $15 an hour. Companies are smart enough to know, like, okay, we need to fire some people, put in this equipment, because people aren't going to pay fucking $10 for just a Big Mac, you know, like they can't just do that all of a sudden. That's why you're seeing all those touch screens and stuff put in. So, I mean, and that's smart business. You know, you don't want to put the entire cost of that on the customer, or else no one's going to buy your stuff. So, again, I don't blame the market for doing that. Market's going to do what it has to do, whether it means firing people and putting in automated equipment. Stuff's going to happen like that. But again, $15 an hour, all goods are going to go up in price, you know, or I mean, people are going to be working more than one job basically to try to make ends meet.
So if that's kind of like how it looks like it's headed right now, even if you would say you might not think it's realistic or it might not happen, what would you say would be like a good answer to that, you know?
I don't know. I mean, I think that the government is going to come up with their own digital currency. You know, I think that we're already seeing that happen a lot with a lot of third world countries and stuff. China actually just came out with their own type of digital currency, but they're controlling the money supply like that. They can freeze your assets with that digital currency because it is centralized. They can see all your transactions. I mean, and I feel like we're probably going to see that happen in Europe and then eventually here as well, to where all your transactions are just digital, like a QR code on your phone. So like, and you know what that is? They're going to tax the shit out of everything you do, you know, like all, you know, right now with paper cash, you can like buy something on Facebook and not have to worry about taxes. But then people, if you sell stuff, like you're going to have to pay taxes suddenly because they'll come after you. Yeah. So, I mean, like, seriously, I'm telling you, man, that's what's going to come. We're going to see a digital currency for the US dollar. They're not going to be able to ban Bitcoin. I think they're not going to ban Bitcoin because they've already tried to regulate. If they were planning on banning Bitcoin, they wouldn't be trying so hard to regulate Bitcoin. Does that make sense? Like they wouldn't be going. It's more trouble to regulate it than to ban it. So I don't think they're going to just get rid of Bitcoin and try to say US people aren't allowed to, you know, have Bitcoin. I don't think they're going to do that. But as far as what the answer goes, I mean, dude, like actual hard, scarce assets. And I'm not trying to say Bitcoin's going to be the thing that is the be all and end all, but it's a good start. Like it may not be it may be like the AOL right now of money, but that doesn't mean that we can't see something better come along that's fundamentally the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like there's a lot of companies, a lot of projects right now that are working on that right now as we speak. Bitcoin to me is more like a store of value, like a digital gold. For savings, I put my money, I don't put it in a savings account. I've always put my money into Bitcoin because it is a store of value. Yeah, it's volatile right now, but what we're saying, just like in the charts that I showed you before, Bitcoin volatility is going to go down with time. Let me put the logarithmic chart on here. So this is a weekly chart. Okay, each little bar here is a week. Okay, now it looks crazy, but you're seeing like, yeah, we got volatility, but this is going to eventually flatten out. Okay, this is eventually going to flatten out. New technology adoption curve. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I may not be able to. Pull this up real quick. Okay, I can't find it. I was going to show you something cool, but anyways, basically the curve is that it flattens out. As more people get on board with it, it flattens out and becomes more mainstream with all technologies. First you've got like the early investors, early adopters, but eventually it's going to all just flatten out to where it's not so volatile. Right now we're seeing huge swings in Bitcoin price, but I mean, goddamn, dude, like as price goes up, it's going to take even more money to make it go up and down. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be less volatile. Right now it's kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity to get into it if you have a long-term vision, if you plan to hold it, for 5, 10, 15 years, it will make you a lot of money. But this is a hot year right now. This is a bull year out of that 4-year cycle. Okay. I mean, I don't know where the top is right now for this cycle. I think it's going to be 100,000. Could be more, could be less. I don't know. I bought, like I was saying before, man, I was buying here, I was buying all through this, all here, down, up, all through this shit. I bought all of this. And I actually haven't bought Bitcoin again since 12,000 right here. We're about 12,000, and it's been spiking up ever since. That's because for me, I've got one whole Bitcoin. That was kind of my goal. I'm happy with that. So, it can keep going up. I'm fine with that. Right now, I'm not comfortable with buying into all this. But if I didn't have any Bitcoin at all, I'd go with that strategy I showed you of dollar cost averaging in. Okay. I want to show you another website they can use to kind of track stuff. This is CoinMarketCap. Have you been here before?
I don't think so.
So CoinMarketCap, wonderful website, by the way. I love this website. It tracks all the cryptocurrencies, their prices on all the exchanges. It's like a great aggregate thing to just see the price of where everything is at. Okay. And it ranks all the coins at the top, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Coin. I can't believe that was third place. It's gone up like crazy.
Last week, I'm not even kidding. I had a note in my phone. I was like writing down all the stocks that I wanted to buy. And I had a note in my phone to put 350 down on Binance, and it was at 125.
Yeah.
And then I hadn't checked it in like a week. I checked it yesterday, and I saw it was at 300. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, man. See, I've had Binance Coin before, but I didn't keep it. And the reason why I didn't keep it is because it's basically a coin that was created by an exchange, Binance, and it's kind of centralized because of that. Now, I understand. My understanding is there's like nodes now where people are like, a lot of individuals now are apparently like in control, like they're validating those transactions. It's not just one entity apparently, but dude, I don't know. Like, it's hot right now, but
on Binance, if you have $100 of BNB on your Binance account, and you invite like somebody to join Binance, I think you get 40% of their trading fees.
Yeah. So there's like a whole referral system there too. So Binance has been around for about as long as I've been into crypto, and I mean, the reason why I didn't get into it and didn't hold Binance is because I just don't really feel comfortable using a token that is like mainly for an exchange, a single exchange. Now, granted, I know I can go to Binance Coin here and see more stats, and I can see that. Let's look at the markets. There's more markets than just Binance. There's these other random markets. A lot of these I've not heard of before. I know I've heard of KuCoin. I've heard of Gate.io. I've never used it. I've heard of BTC. So it's becoming tradable. But the thing is, it's mainly just one exchange.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not really comfortable with that. It's a little bit centralized. Like, if something happens to Binance one day and it just gets dumped off the, it gets like taken out by a government or something, then that coin's going to become valueless to me, in my opinion. So, I missed the bell on that, but it's fine. I'm okay with it. I've done pretty well with some other coins. So, Bitcoin is good. Ethereum's another solid one you can put in. And the one thing I want you to know about Ethereum, if you go in here, you're going to notice something. Look carefully at this chart. Do you see anything that stands out from all these stats up here that kind of you're not sure about? Anything that kind of catches your eye?
I see there's like a pretty high circulating supply of 114 million.
Yeah. Anything else?
Got a really high market cap. Is that?
That's just the number of Ethereum times the price. That's what that market cap is.
I can't really see the graph.
Oh, it's okay. You don't have to see the graph. I'm just talking about these numbers up here.
Yeah.
These numbers. Let me bring your attention here to this right here.
Max supply. And dot. Does that mean like there's an unlimited supply?
Yes.
Okay.
So there is no cap on this. They are doing things to kind of like burn Ethereum over time, but I want you to be aware that there is no max supply on Ethereum, and that was a change that occurred a while back. If you go to other coins, you'll see the maximum supply of Bitcoin obviously is 21 million. Total supply is currently what's been mined is 18,600,000, and circulating supply, same thing as circulating supply. So 89% of all Bitcoin that's ever going to exist has been mined already. Okay, so just understand that. Now, I don't know what this fully diluted market cap means versus the regular. That's something new to me. I'm not sure what that one is, but look at that chart, man. Look how freaking, like, if you buy, and I'm not telling you not to buy, but I'm saying if you buy, understand you're buying into this right here.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, you're not buying when it's low. That's the only thing you got to be careful about. Okay. Let's talk about Doge, because you brought up Doge earlier. Okay.
Doge is something I've been following, and I'm high on Doge.
Okay. So Doge, let me show you what's interesting about Doge. Notice here on Doge, this is the price. The orange here that's going up and down is the price in Bitcoin. Okay. All right. Let me now just see how it's going up and down like that in orange. Let's look at some other stuff. Let's look at, besides Bitcoin, let's look at Ethereum. I'm going to go through these kind of quickly. Notice how it kind of goes up and then kind of comes back down. And it's kind of going up right now. Okay. Notice, I'm trying to pick out some old coins because they've got a lot of charting data. Let's look at Litecoin. Nice little spike up, comes down, spikes up, comes down. All these charts that you're seeing spiking up like Doge, this is what you call an oscillator. Okay. An oscillator is where on the chart compared to Bitcoin, it spikes up and comes down. Spikes up, comes down. Spikes up, down. Spikes up, down. I can show you this better right here. So, okay, this is a daily chart, but you can see the same thing. Each of these candles represents a day, 24 hours. You see it's been spiking up, comes down, spikes up, comes down. And we're not talking about little spikes either here, man. We're talking like just this little spike here was a freaking 60% spike, you know. This one right here was a 480% spike, okay?
Yeah.
Doge is really good for making money.
Yeah.
That was a 68% like that. If you buy it here at these low points, and then every time it spikes, I mean, swear to God, it's like clockwork. Look, 110% there. But this is the biggest spike we've seen ever at like almost 1,000, 865%. Okay. Now you might ask yourself, well, Doge seems really good. Let's look at the hourly chart. And you're like, man, look at this. This looks good, right? This chart looks really good for buying. You know, it's going down. Man, okay, look, it's hit here, came back up. It looks like it may have found support here. So maybe this is kind of a good time to buy. You know, I'm buying low and selling high. Motherfucker, let me tell you, you need to zoom out and look. You're buying here where everybody else for the longest time was buying all down here, okay? This is not the time to buy. I am not touching Doge right now, okay? Because I'm used to this pattern. You know, I'm used to going down and spiking up, coming down, spiking like it's done over and over again. Now, it's readjusting for as we go. It's resizing the candle charts. But you get the idea. Like it's you buy when it's kind of flat and low like this. And the key is when in doubt, again, it looks good on the hourly chart, but you got to zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. Okay. So I'm on the hourly chart. Each candle is an hour. And this is on tradingview.com, by the way, a great website to look at actual charts if you want to try and get some kind of clue or idea if you think it's a good time to buy or sell. I like to use the 4 hour as the smallest time frame, realistically. And then you can kind of see, okay, even on the 4 hour chart, each candle is 4 hours. Well, this price is really high compared to where it's usually been, you know? And I'm going to turn off this auto scale thing so you can see. And this is all like this. You see that? Like it's always been flat. Right now, it's really high. Okay. And this another important thing I want to point out is this is the Dogecoin to Bitcoin chart. Okay. This is a Dogecoin to Bitcoin chart, not US dollars. Okay. So it's always going to pop up in Bitcoin value. It's just we had this huge, ridiculous spike like we've never seen before, ever in the history of Doge, because everybody jumped on board it. If you ever want to look, one more time.
I said, what do you think is the new floor for Doge?
I would be interested in buying down here, which that's about 28 Satoshis. A Satoshi is like right now, Dogecoin is right now at 97 Satoshis. That's just how a lot of people read this in this space because there's so many damn zeros. You're not going to say it's easier than saying 0.00000097 Bitcoin. People don't really say it that way, okay? Because it's really hard it takes forever to say all that. People refer as Satoshis if it's like under a Bitcoin. So this is like 97 Satoshis, okay?
Hey, 1 second. I need I just got a notification. My battery just came on. Let me go grab my charger. I'll be right back.
Okay, yep. Good conversation so far. I like it. Not sure how long we've been recording, but that's okay. Man. Well, I brought some water. Oh, I'm stretching. Yeah. How's your mom doing?
She's doing good.
What's she been up to now?
I don't know. Well, yeah, you met John. I forgot. She was with John when we came to your wedding.
Yeah, I met him very briefly. I don't remember that well, honestly.
Yeah, so they're still together. Got a new house, and
that's good.
Did you ever meet my Aunt Laurie, her sister?
Yes, I know Laurie really well. Are you talking about the one that used to live up north?
Yeah, she just moved to Birmingham like 2 months ago.
Yeah, me and her go way back. I've known her for longer than I've known you.
Wait,
Yeah.
do you know
So
Pasha?
do what?
Do you know Pasha, her husband?
Um, Pasha, no, I've never met him actually, but I've known Laurie for a very long time.
Pretty funny. He's literally a Russian hacker, and he
Really?
he has a company where he hacks into other companies. They pay him to hack into their system to like find the weak points, and
Yeah.
that's what he does. But unfortunately, they sold their Bitcoin during the like after COVID, and from what I understand, they had quite a few.
Who did? Laurie?
Pasha and Laurie.
They
So
should
yeah,
have talked to me first.
yeah, they should have.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're like millionaires, dude. I'm pretty sure at this point.
Probably.
Yeah. But anyway, so okay, you're asking about where to buy Doge at, man. I'm so used to seeing Doge down here at around 25 Satoshis. It's still way too high for me. It's at 98 Satoshis, man. And I feel like eventually it may take a year, it may take 2 years. I do think it will come back down here to being around 20 to 30 Satoshis again. I really do believe that. Here's the thing about Doge. Okay. Dogecoin is a freaking meme. Okay. It was made as a joke. Let me scroll out here just a little bit here. It was never meant to be a serious coin. Okay. It was made as a joke. And the guy, there's no development happening on it. There's no updates. It hasn't been updated in like 8 years. Okay. The code. It's this, look at this. No, just like Ethereum, no max supply. It's just an inflationary cryptocurrency. Okay. This is why it's going to come back down. Okay. It's going to come back down as more and more gets printed every single day. Right now, it's great. People have made a lot of money. I turned $100 into $700, and then a couple more trades turned that to $4,000. But I'm not touching Doge right now because it's up here. This is not my price. I wouldn't even buy it down here at 60. I am genuinely going to be interested starting at 39 Satoshis, 40 Satoshis right here where that point is right there. That's when I'll start being interested again.
So you don't think it'll get to like 15 cents or 20 cents by the end of the year?
Well, here's the thing. You have to look at this stuff on the Bitcoin chart, okay? If you look at the US dollar chart, sure, pull it up. Okay, Doge. And this is a good thing to learn too.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say a good lesson to learn because that sounds like Papa. But okay, so this is the US dollar value, right? Okay, it's gone up to 8 cents. All right. So if all things stay the same, right now it's 5 cents. If Bitcoin goes up to $100,000, okay, then this 5 cents would instead be closer to 10 cents, okay? And that means the value back here would have been 16 cents because it was like 8, almost 9 cents right here, okay? So the thing though is did you lose opportunity? Is it worth it in US dollars versus if you kept it in Bitcoin, okay? This is the US dollar chart, okay? This is the that's US dollar too. Sorry, I pulled up two of them because I'm going to make this. I already planned on making this point to you earlier.
Okay.
So I was going to talk about this. Let me pull up the Bitcoin chart. Okay, so right now they look very similar, right? Okay, so yeah, because it spiked up like crazy. People went crazy for it. It may not be worth it though. Let me show you Litecoin as a good example of why, okay? Of why you need to always look at the Bitcoin chart. Here's Litecoin in US dollars. And you look at and you're like, holy shit, it's gone so freaking high. Let me put it on the daily chart. In terms of US dollars, sorry, it's all scaled out, messed up here. Okay. In 2018, I got to, 2017, 2018, right around there, up to $365, $370. Oh man, it's already almost there. It might break it, like, and it may, I do think it will. And you're thinking, man, what a great deal. Okay, let's look at let me open up a new tab here. I'm going to take over the Doge one here, put in LTC, BTC, comparing Litecoin to Bitcoin, okay? Huh. Still a daily chart. Okay. Still goes back to 2018, 2017. But it looks a lot different to this, to the one we just saw. You see that?
Yeah.
This is Litecoin to USD. This is Litecoin to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So this tells me, and I hope you see this too, that had you just bought Bitcoin, let's say back here, this is US dollar value. Sorry. If you bought Bitcoin, the value of the Bitcoin when it's going down like this, the value of the Bitcoin is outpacing Litecoin value. Okay. The Litecoin to Bitcoin chart compares the price of Litecoin in US dollars to the price of Bitcoin in dollars. Okay. So when Litecoin's really down on this Litecoin to Bitcoin chart, Bitcoin is outpacing it. Okay. If you just compare it to US dollars, man, it looks great. But dude, I mean, if you bought Bitcoin, you have been up way more. Okay. So for example, let's take this date right here where it spiked up. Now that's around June or July 2019. Okay. It got up to $139. And right now it's gone up 85% from there. Okay. I'm trying to just take the peaks here of both of these. Let's look at Bitcoin around that same time. We've got a lot more data here. This is a weekly. I want to make sure my data matches up here. So this is daily. Yes. Okay. And this is daily chart as well. Okay. So going back to July right here, this spike right here. This is a logarithmic chart. Let me turn that off. There. Now it's showing the actual US dollar, not percentage. All right. This is around that same spike around June, July, right out there. Had you just bought Bitcoin instead, that is a 360% gain in US dollar value. Okay. So when you're looking at stuff like Doge, like anything, don't look at the US dollar chart. Okay. You need to always look at the Bitcoin chart comparison, Litecoin to Bitcoin, for example. That's one piece of advice, one mistake I see a lot of people doing. I'm in this crypto group on Facebook with like 40,000 people. And that's what a lot of people make the mistake of doing. They just look at the US dollar chart to see, money number goes up and they're excited, but they've missed the opportunity. Had they bought Bitcoin at that same time, they would have made a lot more gains. So yeah, you made some gains. If you bought Litecoin here, survived this dip, and then still had it, yeah, you made gains, but you didn't make as much gains as you could have made. Okay.
I'm a little confused on like the Litecoin Bitcoin on how to read it, like how to read the chart.
Sure. So okay, this is US dollars. Okay, here's how you read this. Okay. So when you're reading this is Litecoin compared to Bitcoin. Okay. You are looking at the price of Litecoin if you turn it into Bitcoin, if you trade it into Bitcoin. See here in the bottom right, 0.004374. That's the current price in Bitcoin. Okay. That's how much Bitcoin you could get for a single Litecoin. All right. So when the chart here, when you're looking at it, if Litecoin is really up on this chart, like it was up here, like it was right here, then you're getting a lot more Bitcoin for your Litecoin when you're selling Litecoin into Bitcoin. Okay. All right. When if you were to make the mistake of selling your Litecoin here or where it currently is right here, you're not getting as nearly as much Litecoin as you would have. So let me do one more example here with this. Let's say, let me look at the charts again real quick. I want to make sure I get you a good example here. Okay. February 18th, 2020. Okay. February 18th, 2020. Where is it here? February 18th. Okay. If you look at this chart here, now I'm currently on the US dollar chart. Okay. You bought here, you survived this dip, number goes up, you're happy. Okay. You got 200% gains in US dollars. Okay, February 18th, 2020. In terms of value in Bitcoin, February 18th, 2020. Here it is. Yeah, your Litecoin went up compared to how much Bitcoin went up, though. You've got, let me show you the Bitcoin too. Let me show you the Bitcoin chart too. So February 18th, 2020. This might help clear things up. I'm trying to get as close as possible. So there's February, okay, right there. Okay. So let's look at these charts here. You bought Litecoin, right? It went up 200%. This is exact same time frames that we're at right now, okay? Same day, as close as I could get it. You bought, or you could buy Bitcoin at the exact same day. It went here 440%.
Yeah.
This chart here, Litecoin to Bitcoin, shows you that difference.
Okay.
Okay. It shows that difference if you had bought Litecoin versus Bitcoin. So when Litecoin is down on this chart, it's a good time to buy it.
Okay.
Okay. That's where it's kind of hard to look at, but that's kind of the best way.
Look at the Doge to Bitcoin, and the Doge to Bitcoin's high right now. That shows that it's like overvalued, basically.
Yes. Okay. Now that you understand that, let me go. I've got Ethereum charts built here too, but let me go to Doge. I'm going to keep those other charts up so you can look back at them in a second. Dogecoin US dollar. Oh, great. Number goes up. Number go up, we make money. This is on the weekly chart. I'm going to switch it to the daily chart because that's a good chart. I like to use daily charts to where each candle's one day. For me, that is easiest. Okay. Number down, less than a cent. Number go up, right? Yeah. I'm talking like caveman because that's like the memes like the Reddit people do. All right. So, but then if you look at, let me pull up Doge to BTC. And we'll use Binance. I want to use actually something. Let me pull it up. I'm going to use a different market though. Hang on 1 second here. Binance has only been around since 2017, and I'm going to pull up maybe the longest chart I can. Okay. Let me see. Let me try Bittrex maybe. Yeah, it's got a long history on Bittrex. That's a U.S. exchange. Okay. Also, in Doge to BTC, low in terms of value in Bitcoin, still low. A little bit spike. I'm getting a little excited. Okay. Huge spike in terms of Bitcoin value. Higher than we've ever seen. Okay. Except for like this weird thing when it first got on the exchange. I wouldn't count this part on the left side. But look, the last time we saw this high was right here in May 20. No, was it May? Yeah, end of May 2017. Okay. Other than that, we've seen little spikes like this, these little oscillators. Okay. That's interesting. But I also know Doge has no market like max supply. There's no cap on how much can be produced. Eventually, this is going to get inflated out to where it's going to come back down here. It may have to be in the middle of the bear market before it comes down here. Okay. But this is look how reliable this has been. If you bought anywhere in this range, I'll even say, let's say this range here. If you bought anywhere, that's actually too high. Let's go this. Over the past 4 years, if you bought, don't worry about this 130%. If you bought anywhere in this range here, though, dude, you would have made a lot of money, like if you just held it, But the thing is, there's a lot of times where you could have made money and sold it, and it came back down. All these little spikes going up, all of them. So we're in the middle of one of those spikes going up. It's going to come down. Now, where does it finally sit? I don't really know. I mean, it spiked up and sat here, and then it spiked up again, sat up a little bit higher, and then slowly dwindled out, and it got down here. So for me personally, this seems like a good range. If I had to, well, you can't really see that. Let me make it there. Anywhere from, where it was bottomed out here, God, I can't draw it. Sorry, this magnet thing's turned on. Sticking to the numbers. Let me take the magnet off. Sorry. There we go. So it was down there, anywhere in this range here. That to me seems like a good time to buy. That's between 16 and 37 Satoshis. Or, you could say basically anything under 40 Satoshis. I don't know what that's going to be in US dollars. I can't tell you that because number go up. Like if Bitcoin goes to 100,000, then and nothing else changes, then you'll see us back up here past 9 cents to like closer to like 11 cents, up here somewhere. The price of Doge, if nothing changes, if the Bitcoin value of Doge in terms of Bitcoin value doesn't change, and this just the Bitcoin chart just stays flat, then the US dollar chart when Bitcoin goes up, it'll be somewhere like, around here. It will be, or I'm sorry, that's 9.5 cents. Hang on. If nothing else changes in terms of Bitcoin value, it'll be up here. Okay. Number go up. That's great. But again, I'm looking at the opportunity, and I really feel like that it's not a good value for me right now. Even here, it's too risky. It's too risky. To even buy it right here, hoping that it goes up, it's too risky for me. I don't trust it. You know what I'm saying? It shot up way too high. I don't trust it. Yeah, it's kind of bouncing around here, probably because there was support here and back here, but I don't trust it. It's not worth the risk, especially because if you're looking at it this way, okay, it could go up. You might gain 137%. You also may lose goddamn 85%. Okay. So if you put $100 in and it goes back down to these levels like I'm expecting it will, the $100 is only going to be worth $15. Okay. And this is just on the Bitcoin chart as far as like what the value could be.
Now, how long do you think it would take for it to finally come back down? Like a few weeks, or?
I don't know. It's probably not going to happen this year. I mean, I don't know what it's going to do this year. It's already spiked up. It could catch. This is the Bitcoin chart. So let me look at the US dollar chart. It could go up. Like I said, when Bitcoin goes up, a rising tide will raise all ships. All these coins are going to go up. All these shit coins are going to go up. You're going to see people start putting out YouTube videos like 10 coins to the next 10 coins to go to 1,000% or something, and they're usually shit coins.
Yeah.
Okay. Pump and dumps.
Yeah.
So when Bitcoin goes up, obviously everything's going to go up in price. People are going to get excited about the US dollar price. I'm excited about Ethereum getting to $2,000. I think that's great.
Yeah.
However, let's look at Ethereum and compare the US dollar chart to the Bitcoin chart. Okay. This is US dollar. Number go up. This is awesome. Kicking ass, right? 2019. Hey, look at that. All right. Let's look at the Ethereum, comparing it, the US dollar price of Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. Okay. Okay. Sorry. This is being glitchy. Okay. Okay. Number not up. Number down. See that?
So now's a good time to buy.
Now's a good time. I mean, now keep in mind, man, 2017 was great because this is December 2017, and that shit shut up 300%.
Yeah.
So, but now's a good time to buy Ethereum. But if you look at it US dollar wise, I mean, if Bitcoin shoots up in price, here's something else that happens. Sometimes Bitcoin will shoot up in price and it will suck up the market cap. And that sounds crazy, but it'll actually make the market cap of the other coins go down. Okay. Because people are like throwing their money into it from these other coins into Bitcoin because they see it going up.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, Ethereum's a good price in terms of Bitcoin value. You can get a lot of Ethereum for your Bitcoin. So if you had, sorry, that's my wife. She's came in here. Hey, baby. I'm talking to my nephew Cameron.
Oh, I don't want to.
That's fine. She just woke up and came down. So it's like this, man. If you had Bitcoin before, like around here, it'd be a good time to buy some Ethereum with Bitcoin. I'm okay with where I'm at with Ethereum, so I'm not doing that. Now, in terms of US dollar price, I think it's like I told you in that text message. I think it's a safe bet. It's still a large enough coin to where, yeah, it's high in price, but I think it's a safe enough bet to where you could see a spike like this. Maybe not all the way up here to where it was here, but you could see a spike maybe somewhere like around here. You know what I'm saying? In that range. That's to give you an idea where it's at right now for price. That'll be anywhere from a 50% gain, maybe all the way up to like 138% gain. You know, and I'm not saying that's exact. It could go higher. You know, I don't know. So, I mean, I do think there's some upside there. And it may not sound like awesome, like, oh man, it's like only a 50% gain. Well, here's the thing. This is the Bitcoin chart, okay? So if it gains 50% in value, if it was 50% more Bitcoin worth, if it was worth 50% more Bitcoin right now, then you would see Ethereum be $3,000 instead of being currently at $2,000. Okay. That's kind of how you got to look at. Again, this is the Bitcoin chart. So I look at this because this is how you need to read these altcoins. When Bitcoin goes up, everything's going to go up. What happens though, this is funny. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you another chart if I can here. I'm not trying to throw too much information out at you, but so like I said, I'm recording all this. I'll even put it up on my YouTube channel to share with you. And so if you want to go back and look at any of this information, because I know this is a lot of information I'm throwing at you.
Yeah.
If you ever want to look at it, you'll be able to go back and look at this info again. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin. Let me actually go to just type in here Bitcoin market. That's okay. Let me see here. Market cap Bitcoin dominance. So this chart here, let me show you some stuff here. I'm going back to Coin Market Cap. If you go at the very top of Coin Market Cap, up here you see the market cap of all cryptocurrencies currently at $1.7 trillion. Back in 20.
Oh my God, it's like all Bitcoin. I see it right there. It's like 1 trillion.
Yeah, Bitcoin's market cap is 1 trillion. This is to give you an idea. The total market cap of all cryptocurrencies in 2017 was 800 billion. So it's gone up a lot, and now it's 1 trillion for Bitcoin by itself. So this chart here takes the dominance of Bitcoin and compares it to all the shit coins. All right. So Bitcoin currently has a 61% hold of the dominance of the total market cap of all cryptocurrency. Okay. The remaining percent, what is it? 39% or whatever. That's all the altcoins. That's Ethereum, Litecoin, Doge, Bitcoin, shitcoin trash, whatever you want to call it, Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah.
All these other things. All these other things besides Bitcoin are in that 39%. Okay. When on this market cap chart for Bitcoin, this number goes up. When the chart goes up, Bitcoin is outperforming the altcoins as a whole. Okay. Now there may be some outliers like Ethereum or some other coins that like Doge that outperform Bitcoin, but this chart is like an aggregate of all the altcoins compared to Bitcoin as far as market cap values go. Okay.
I have two questions.
Yes.
With you probably quicker. On the other one, on that list I saw, it made me think about. I put some money, not a lot, like $50 into Atom or Cosmos. Is that a good one?
I don't know anything about it, honestly. I mean, it's in the top 20, so it must be doing something, but I don't know anything about that particular project. I've seen it before, but I've never invested in it or looked into any research for it. I'll give you a run. Go ahead.
You can go ahead if you were gonna.
No, I was going to say I'll give you a rundown of some coins I would pick out here that I've invested in or know something about in a little bit.
Okay.
Was that what your second question was going to be?
My second question was kind of to go back to something I was thinking about a minute ago when we were looking at like Ethereum and Dogecoin, how they had no limit on how much they could be produced.
Yes.
So why doesn't like Ethereum, for example, since they're already such a big coin, why can't they just say, we have 114 million produced, there will be 300 million produced, in the lifespan of this coin. Why can't they just go ahead and put that down? And
They could. They could do that. Yeah.
That raised the value a lot.
I think it would help. I think it would definitely be a good thing. They could do that because just like how you remember I told you with Bitcoin, they could do a Bitcoin improvement proposal, a BIP. Yeah. Well, they had the same thing for Ethereum called an Ethereum improvement proposal, EIP. Mm-hmm. I'm recording on this too. Hang on. Was it, sweetheart?
I was going to ask you about that, about what your mom sent.
Oh, are you interested in that? Okay. Well, we can talk to her about that.
I thought you could be.
Yeah, I am too. I just wasn't sure if that's the kind you wanted. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so Ethereum has improvement proposals as well. So we could totally see that happen for sure. It has to be voted upon and agreed by the miners and everybody involved, developers, and be like, yeah, let's do this. So 100%. They could also have hard forks too. Like there's actually an Ethereum Classic that was a hard fork because there was a big argument a long time ago, years ago, about this very issue, about the market caps, like the max supply. Notice here that Ethereum Classic has put in a max supply of 210 million Ethereum Classic that will ever be created. Now, it's the exact same code, except for this. It was forked off, okay? There were some other changes that occurred, but this was one that a lot of the original developers on Ethereum Classic that helped make the project, Ethereum, I should say, they were not happy with the uncapped supply. So they went off and forked off Ethereum and made their own version of Ethereum and called it Ethereum Classic. Now, I do not recommend investing in this. I have some Ethereum Classic, but I mean, it's kind of on life support right now, to be honest, as far as development goes. So yeah, they could, though, to go back to your question, they could actually change this to a set supply like 300 million if they wanted to, if it's agreed upon by everybody. I think it would help. Right now, they're kind of doing something else where they're burning Ethereum, like basically making it so that with every transaction, a little bit of Ethereum just disappears forever. I don't know the code on how they do that. I'm guessing maybe they stick in some wallet address that can never be accessed by anybody because they don't have the keys to it. But I don't know. So, yeah, good question. Any other questions, real quick, before we talk about anything else?
No, I mean, I guess like it seems like such a simple idea, like just set a cap and that'll help, raise the value of the coin. So like why isn't that, more common?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't really follow the Ethereum developers heavily. I am aware about Ethereum 2.0.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing I can tell you about it is Ethereum has been very, very slow with development on anything. I mean, Ethereum 2.0 and staking your Ethereum. Are you familiar with that? With what they're talking about with that?
I've heard of like Ethereum 2.0 mentioned. I don't know anything other than that. Though.
Okay, good. So, we talked about Bitcoin and how people mine Bitcoin, with equipment and stuff. It takes electricity and computations. People currently are mining Ethereum on the current network it's on. That's called proof of work. You are showing proof of work by mining these blocks. This is proof of work. This is how these coins get value because it takes a certain amount of work to produce these blocks. Okay. That's proof of work. That's that term, proof of work. Very common term. There's another term out there, another way of producing blocks called proof of stake. Now, Bitcoin is not proof of stake. This is just another concept, another idea that has been implemented by some other coins. Okay. Proof of stake is where you have your coins. Let's say you have it on your wallet and you simply stake them. You hold them. Okay. Every coin's different. Some coins you have to keep the address, the wallet open on your computer. Other coins you have to like stake it by like sending it to somebody. I'm not really comfortable with that. But there's different ways of doing it. So each coin has a different way of doing it. The ones that do it. Not everybody does that. Proof of stake is where you hold it, and basically by you, like say for example, having your wallet open on your computer, you're validating transactions. You're getting some of those blocks that come in, and it's being added to your wallet. Okay, that's how that proof of stake idea works. You're actively lending your computer to like validate transactions like that, using a lot less electricity. But there's very few projects that have really done it correctly. There's one that I really like that's doing it really well, but there's very few other projects that have done it correctly. Ethereum 2.0, a big part of that is going to be proof of stake, moving from proof of work to proof of stake. It's going to be a huge change. It's kind of like if you're trying to, let's say you've got a car on a racetrack or a highway that's going like 100 miles an hour, and suddenly you're trying to work on that car. Let's say you're trying to, in this case, swap the engine out while it's still moving. That's essentially what they're trying to do. They're trying, because it's active. The blockchain is constantly updating with more blocks. It's not just like a project that's like turned off or paused or anything. It's always going. So it's like they're trying to swap the engine out of a moving car on the highway with a different engine. You get what I'm saying? A lot of these other coins that have proof of stake, including the one that I really like, it's like they have kept the car in their garage before they ever put it on the highway, and they've built the engine that's going to be proof of stake in the actual car before starting the car up and running on the highway. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why it's so fucking hard for them to do this. And they've been so close many times with making this happen, but they kept finding an error here or a mistake here that would have been like literally like life ending for the Ethereum network. Yeah. And they've had to like pull the plug multiple times on launching Ethereum 2.0. Ethereum 2.0 is supposed to happen like in 2016, and then like in 2018, and then 2019. Like it keeps getting put off. They've gotten to the point where I don't know why they're even doing this, but you have to like, in order to stake your Ethereum, you have to send it to an Ethereum 2.0 address. That's I guess it's different than a regular Ethereum address. And you have to send at least 32 Ethereum in order to stake it whenever they launch the 2.0 that opens up the staking part. It's still proof of work right now. But in the meantime, you can go ahead and send your Ethereum to the Ethereum 2.0 address. The problem is, once you send it, it's essentially getting burned and being added to that different like blockchain. And there's no way of getting your original Ethereum back. Not until they launch Ethereum 2.0, which, like I just said, has been stopped multiple times because they find an error or something that fucked up. And I think you kind of get where I'm at. Like you're kind of putting it up, in the hands of God to like kind of count on them. Like, okay, guys, I hope you make it happen. Like, you're taking it out of your control. And so that's made it kind of difficult for people to really kind of get on board with that. So, because they don't know how long it's going to be. So,
yeah,
I'm not saying it won't ever happen, but I mean, shit, we could see Ethereum go up to $10,000 and then crash back down to $1,000 in that time. And the whole time you didn't get a chance to ever sell any because it was locked up in that freaking wallet for Ethereum 2.0. You cannot get it out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Missed opportunities. So, yeah. And that's another thing, to stake Ethereum on Ethereum 2.0. Like I said earlier, you have to have 32 Ethereum, and that's a shit ton of money just to start staking it. So it's kind of like a rich man's game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not a fan of that, but yeah, I don't know. But despite that though, here's the thing: Ethereum's been around longer than anyone else except for Bitcoin. Okay, it's as far as longevity goes, I think it's going to be around for a while. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to get staking up and running, but I mean, if I had to put money on it, I'd say Ethereum's a pretty safe bet to make some gains.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Ethereum go to 10,000. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, seriously, like here's what we would need to see it to go 10,000. Okay, if we saw Ethereum get to right here, okay, at where it was previously, 0.1 Bitcoin, meaning if you have 10 Ethereum, it equals 1 Bitcoin. Okay. If we saw Ethereum get to 0.1 Bitcoin, somewhere around this range, and Bitcoin takes off to $100,000, well, 0.1 of 100,000, that's a $10,000 Ethereum. Okay. So it could happen. I mean, and like I said, it looks pretty good for the Bitcoin chart too. But for now, my advice to you is to just buy Bitcoin. Okay. That is the safest one out of all these shit coins. And I'll tell you the ones I like here in a second. But out of all these other shit coins, all these shitters, Bitcoin is king dick. Okay. That's the daddy. That's big daddy. All right. Sometimes, let me pull it up here. Sometimes, like, okay, let's go back here. This is when altcoins, like anything besides Bitcoin is called an altcoin.
Yeah.
This is when altcoins were at all-time highs. Bitcoin was only at like a 38, 37, 36% market dominance. Okay. Its market cap was only like 36% of the entire market cap of all altcoins. Okay. But then daddy woke up. He woke up and went up to 50%. Yeah. He saw these altcoins running around, beat the shit out of them. They went down in price. Daddy went up in price compared to the market caps.
Yeah.
And then, Daddy got another beer out of the fridge and went back to sleep. And then the altcoins tried to do something. He woke up again, beat their ass some more.
Yeah.
He started getting hold of Ethereum and Litecoin and started beating the shit out of them. And then Daddy decided to drift off into sleep in a drunken slumber. He went to sleep, and so the altcoins are creeping around, trying to get their milk and cereal in the middle of the night, little snacks. Daddy wakes up again, beats their ass, starts beating the shit out of them. And then Daddy, he's kind of at this point, he's kind of tired, so he's going to go take a nappy nap. So he goes to sleep. Little altcoins come creeping out. So that here they are creeping out, climbing up in price on Bitcoin. Bitcoin didn't like that. He wakes up, he's like, wait a second, shoots back up in price. So you get the narrative here. What I'm saying, like I do expect to see this go down to like here somewhere, maybe. I don't know where. Probably likely here. It'd be awesome if it came down here, but at least maybe like somewhere here. I expect, Bitcoin's kind of going up right now, but you're going to eventually see Bitcoin's price kind of like mellow out for a little bit, and then the altcoins, Ethereum, Litecoin, all these other coins, they're going to start going crazy again, creeping up on Bitcoin. I mean, it happens like that. Yeah. And what that may look like is it may look like this. Okay. Let's say this is Bitcoin and these are the altcoins. Okay. Bitcoin goes up and kind of tapers off a little bit. So altcoins kind of catch back up. Okay. And then, Bitcoin sees that. Oh, no, Bitcoin goes up again. And then, altcoins slowly catch up with it. Bitcoin usually leads the way with these big market swings. Okay. Here's another thing. Okay. This is Bitcoin still. These are the altcoins. Okay. A lot of times you see, especially in bear markets, they're both kind of high up here, right? Okay. You see Bitcoin come down and then fucking altcoins come down even harder. Okay. And that's what happens. Like when you see something like this, where it spikes up like that, going straight up, not the down part, but just the up part here. That means one of two things. Either A, Bitcoin is gaining up much higher than altcoins, or B, Bitcoin is dumping, but the altcoins are dumping even harder. Okay. and Bitcoin's maintaining more dominance that way. So, yeah. All right. So I'm going to talk about some of the coins that I kind of like without putting in too much info on them because this is getting kind of long, I'm sure. But do you have any other questions before I move on to that?
I guess as far as Bitcoin, with it being 55,000 right now, what do you think is like a good entry point, like to start putting money in?
Like I said, going back to, let me share the thing here. If you want to, why does this not work? Okay, there we go. Use a strategy, man. Use this strategy. Okay. Take whatever amount you have. It doesn't have to be $800 a month. It could be $400 a month. Okay. Take whatever you have, put half of it in your savings account. Let it sit there. Let it grow every month when you put more money in. When you see a 30 to 40% dip, maybe even 50% dip, but 30 to 40% dip, I put 10% cash of that money supply you got there. You can put as much as you want, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay. I would scale it in like 10% on the first dip, but if it gets to like 40 or 50%, I would throw all your cash in that you've collected in your savings account. Okay. In the meantime, in order to not feel like you're missing out on anything, every Friday, take the other $400, divide it by 4, and then take whatever that amount is. In this case, it would be $100, 400 divided by 4. Every Friday, specifically, put in $100 every week. Okay. That gives you $400 every month in Bitcoin, no matter what. Okay. Do that. If it's up in price, then okay, fine. Okay. That's okay. No one can predict the price of Bitcoin, dude. Okay. Like here's the thing. It's so I am not good at predicting price. So don't think I know what I'm doing. All I know is like these are the strategies I use to kind of make the right choices. Like this is a daily chart again. Every single candle is a day. All right. Let's say you invested a whole bunch here.
It's not on the screen.
Oh, it's not. Let me fix that. Sorry, I forgot. I forgot to share it. Let me see here. Let me stop sharing. Sorry about that. I have to go back and switch it to the other thing here. Okay. Share. There you go. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay. Let's use this line that I made right here. Okay. I share. Okay. Let's say this is my dollar cost average, and I've been doing so good. I've been buying it. Let's say you started right here, and this is your dollar cost average. And don't worry about the prices here on the right side. I'm just saying, like, let's just use this as an example. And then you're like, oh shit, market came down. You stick with a strategy, right? Oh no, it came down again. It's still going down. This is your dollar cost average, this line here, okay? And I'm going to change the color because it's a little bit easier to see. And I'm going to also make it a little bit thicker to see too. Okay, so as you buy, when it's these low times here, your dollar cost average is going to tick down, the average price that you've paid for your overall Bitcoin as you accumulate more, okay? It's going to keep doing it every week. When you buy every Friday, the average cost will come down, okay? And as it gets down here, it may, tick down a little bit slower. It may not come down quite as much. I'm saying $100 every week or whatever it is. But then you will go ahead.
I'm saying if I put my savings in on top of that, like on top of the 5 or the 10.
Yeah. If you put your savings, if you see this dip, and you see it dip like this, at 42%, you better go ahead and dump all your savings in.
Yeah.
I don't really have a way of calculating that for you. So if you see it dip and you put in all your savings, you may bring the dollar, depends how much you had previously in Bitcoin, but you may see it come down here and then every week start, coming down when you put $100 in every week or whatever it might be. I'm just saying that for the example I gave you. Yeah. And then here's a great thing. Okay, you might be down even all this time, but you stuck with the strategy every Friday, $100. Eventually it's going to come up in price. It may take like 6 months or something, like that's literally what was that? That was from, oh gosh, lost it. It's okay. That was from November, and it took all the way until April. Okay, so you're literally talking like 6 months right there, give or take. So before you saw that go positive again. Okay, it's positive. You're good now. Your dollar cost average is down here. You know, when it's up $100, you're worried about missing out. Just stick with a strategy.
Yeah.
$100, it's going to creep up your dollar cost average as it goes up on this up here.
Mm-hmm.
As it goes up, you're just going to stick with the same strategy. $100, your dollar cost average is going to move up.
Yeah.
Your average cost of all your Bitcoin that you've collected.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And yeah, you know, it may go up, it may go down. Your dollar cost average, as you're putting $100, it's going to go down, it's going to go up, you know.
Yeah.
And then when you see a major dip like this, you're going to have your savings, the other half that you've been putting in every single month in your savings account to buy that fucking dip. Okay.
Yeah.
And that will really help you out too. Okay. That's the strategy that I would give you for buying Bitcoin. Okay.
And then about selling, when do you know how to sell? Like when?
So, like I said before, selling is the thing I'm not so experienced with because I don't have as much experience selling. I haven't done as much, but I did do it recently. Okay. And there's two ways you can do it. You can do it just the way it feels, which I don't really recommend, or you can just make a plan now and stick with that plan. So for me, my plan right now is very similar to selling. Okay. For selling, I mean, it's very similar for buying. Okay. Let me share this real quickly with you. I just realized I keep having to go back and hit the share button because it doesn't like to share it. So hang on one second. I'm going back into Photoshop here. Okay, so my strategy for selling is this. Okay, for me personally. Oh, okay, there we go. If BTC equals 100K or if my portfolio, I wish I had a touchscreen to make it a little bit easier and neater.
Yeah.
Equals 200K. If BTC equals 100K, or if my portfolio equals 200,000, because I've got a lot of other coins besides Bitcoin, then I am going to immediately sell, for me personally, $30,000. And the reason why I am choosing that number, there's a specific reason why for that. For me, $30,000, that's going to pay off all my credit card debts that I have, both for me and my wife. That will pay off all of our credit card debts, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay. The reason why is because I want to be able to have that paid off so that if Bitcoin continues to go down, let's say 100,000 is the top, and Bitcoin goes down from 100,000 and does like an 85% correction, say down to like 15K. Well, that's okay. I can survive. I don't have to worry about anything because I've already paid off all my debt. You know what I'm saying? I can survive and go back and do my dollar cost average strategy that I showed you on the other page here. You know what I'm saying? That's for me. That number is going to be different for you. It may not be 30K, maybe something else, but maybe you want to buy a house or something, or a new car, or whatever it might be, and you have a set number in your mind of something you want. Okay. For me, I want to pay off credit card debt. That's my number one thing. I want to sell 30,000 immediately. So it's a lot easier to survive another 3-year bear market than, just trying to make it. Here's another thing you want to think about too. Okay. $30,000, that might be the magic number for you too, because if Bitcoin corrects from 100,000 and it corrects by 70%, then that would be a 30K Bitcoin. You got to think about that too. And I'm not saying you've got like, I'm not saying you can afford to do that right now. I'm not, assuming that or anything. I'm just saying, like, wherever Bitcoin goes, it's probably going to correct by at least 85%.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep dollar cost averaging. I mean, you'll get there. I promise. I remember the first $500 I got in Bitcoin, or the first $1,000 I got in Bitcoin. I was like, man, this is great. December 2017, man, I had $7,000. It peaked at that price. I was so excited, and that shit dumped. And but I mean, I'm okay, like I'm doing much better now than I was then. So going back to my strategy here, though, my strategy also is this. There's one more part to this strategy for me. Okay, let me erase this here. The last part is I'm planning on selling about, just like dollar cost average, I'm planning on selling about 5 to 10% after I sell the 30K.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sell 5 to 10%. Probably, I'm not sure what the best day is of the week, but I'm going to sell 5 to 10% every week. Okay. That's for me. So where my portfolio value is after I sold the 30K here to pay off all credit card debt, I'm planning on selling 5 or 10% every week. Now, if I see Bitcoin get in the range between 200 to 250K,
mm-hmm.
I'm fucking out.
Like completely.
I'm getting out. Cash out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am not staying in it. This is a high risk range to me. Anywhere from 200 to 250K, very high risk. And I say 200 to 250K, it may only get to like 190K. You know what I'm saying? Like it could happen because Bitcoin always beats our expectations, both going up and down. But this range here, I am done. I am not touching it. Okay. In fact, honestly, if it gets close to here, somewhere between 190 to 170K in that range, I'm probably going to be mostly, if not all, cash already at that point. Because it's just, I mean, we're talking about going from 20,000 peak to 200,000 peak. That's a 10x.
Yeah.
And like we talked about before, if you go back to the Bitcoin chart again from all this time, yeah, it's up, but look at the logarithmic chart. This is percentage gains and percentage losses.
It's not on right now.
Oh, sorry, crap. Yeah, you got to tell me that. Sorry about that. I keep going back and forth here because I'm excited about this. I'm forgetting. I'm really excited that you're getting into this, man. I know this is a lot of information, but that's why I'm recording it, man. So if you ever need to see it again, you can. So this is the logarithmic chart, okay? Percentage gain, percentage down, not US dollars, since 2012, okay? You'll notice that the percentage gains at first were really high, and then it drops. It drops like here. It dropped about 75%, and then huge percentage gains. From before it was like 23,000% from near the bottom to the top. The next cycle, we see 11,000%. Again, bottom to the top, roughly. That was from 11,000. That's an 11x basically, an 11x multiplier from November 2014 all the way to close to December 2017 there. Okay, that's an 11x, almost 11,000%. Okay, so now we're seeing this cycle here. And let me turn this magnet off. Okay, so here is the very bottom, and we're currently at a 17x on the logarithmic chart. Okay, and so this is why I get scared, because if we're going by the bottoms here, then the 20x mark would be at like 65, 66,000. Okay, it's very, very crazy. Another way people like to measure it, though, and this is the way I kind of like to measure it, is going from peak to peak. So going from here, before I measure from the bottom to the top of the cycle, just to show you how the percentage is dropping, the multiplier is dropping with how much you can gain. So if you go and measure from peak to peak, here we saw a 15x from December 2013 to December 2017. That's a full 4-year cycle. Okay, we saw a 15x% increase. Before that, and I don't know if this would be counted as a cycle, so I'll go here to about this peak right here, let's say. Before that, there was a, let's see, 10,000% versus 1,600%. So it's a little bit different, right? Am I doing the math right? Or am I crazy? Let me see. Yeah. So if you go measure by the peaks, it's going down as well. Okay. So we had a 15,000% gain way back in the day. Okay. And now we've got, in the last cycle, we had a 1,500% cycle gain. So right now we're at, if you measure the peaks, we're only at 200%. Okay. And if we go to 100,000, measuring the peaks, this is kind of the way I'm measuring it, because it seems a little bit more accurate. 100,000 would be a it says 400%, but it's not quite right because I'm measuring quite right either. That's a 500, that's a 5x, 20,000 to 100,000. I think we're going to see a 10x, because I feel like going from like a 1,500% gain to a 500% gain is a little bit short. I really think we're going to see it go up here to a 10x, and that's roughly about $220,000 Bitcoin. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm getting this all from. And I know this has been a long chat, but it takes about this long to really kind of explain everything.
Yeah.
So do you have any other questions right now at this moment that you can think of?
Well, if you had to make a guess on if Bitcoin right now is 50,000 and you think by the end of the cycle it'll be 100,000, what do you think is like the cap for it, like for all time, I guess? What do you think is, how high do you think it could go?
I think I've thought about this before. I think for the next cycle, so right now we're in the bull year, we'll see a bear market for 3 years, and then we'll see another bull year again. I think in that bull year, if we go from 200, let's say the top, it depends on the top, but let's go ahead and assume the top is going to be 200,000. Okay. If the top is 200,000, we're not going to see a 10x like we did from 20 to 200,000. Okay. Because that multiplier is going to come down every single cycle. That's just how it works. So we're not going to see a 10x, but I do think we would probably see at least a 5x in that case. And a 5x from 200,000 is $1 million, right? So I do think that the next cycle will be close to reaching $1 million at the top of that next cycle. So, and who knows, maybe it could go even higher from there with the next cycle. I can't really project that far, but who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like, so between all this stuff we talked about Bitcoin and how the monetary system works and how all this shit works, like it's kind of mind blowing. You're just like, what the fuck? You're starting to, I can see it in your eyes. You're waking up like, what the fuck are we doing with our printing all this money and all this shit going on with cryptocurrency? You're gonna start seeing the numbers from the Matrix pop up and shit. I mean, like it's kind of like the feeling you get. You like start seeing things, like looking around at people, like, man, like people are more aware of Bitcoin now, but they're not really involved. They don't really get it, like the actual foundation and fundamentals of why it works and why number goes up. Like they don't understand the underlying value and how it's so much better than putting money in just a freaking savings account that gives you like 0.25% every year. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm so glad we're having this conversation. Maybe you can convince Papa to get into it again, because he's excited about doubling his money from the freaking stocks when it crashed in March 2020 from COVID. He was excited. He doubled $80,000. He said. I'm just like thinking, shit. I saw my Bitcoin go and do from like 4,000 to where it is now. So I tried hard to get Papa into it. I really tried hard to get Papa, and he couldn't get into it. I kept telling him, hey, now's a good time to buy. Now's a good time to buy. And he couldn't get involved. Like he couldn't do it.
Last March, like I knew I was like, now is like a great time for me to get, into the stock market. I just knew nothing. And I was like, and then after when all the AMC stuff happened, I kind of felt like I could do this, and then I bought into AMC. I say AMC, but the GameStop.
Right.
Stuff happened. I was like, I could, now's a great time to get in. If I don't get in it now, I'm just gonna keep wishing I did. So
yeah, and stocks are good too. Don't get me wrong, you can definitely make some serious money in stocks. I don't know a lot about stocks because there's a lot of things that you got options and calls, and I know what shorting and longing is in stocks, and there's similar things to that in crypto. But like I don't really know all the different ways and different like things you can do in stocks to make money. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of information, and I'm not good with it. My goal is when we have the next bear market, I'm going to basically try to start dollar cost averaging not only the Bitcoin but the stocks. But I'm going to also take that time while Bitcoin's kind of like in its bear market and stuff to learn stocks, to really try to learn. I have a friend that does stocks. He's made a shit ton of money, and like, I mean, he had GameStop from way before, and like then it spiked up and it helped him out. But like, I'm gonna learn from him.
Yeah,
if stuff like GameStop, you can't predict that stuff. You really cannot predict what's going to happen. All you can do is look at the probabilities and think, okay, what are the odds of it coming down lower from here? What are the odds of it going up from here? And you got to look at the big picture stuff like Bitcoin chart, for example. Like you got to look at the odds of like, okay, if I saw this chart here, what are the odds that it's going to come back up? It might come back up. Look, it's been strong support, but you got to remember you could be wrong too. So like, and that's why it's risky. The only thing I know about Bitcoin is like it's got those fundamentals. It's got that deflationary value to it, to where the supply gets cut in half every 4 years. It's got a set market supply. I mean, think about all the people that have mined early on who lost their fucking hard drive with their wallet address and stuff and their Bitcoin info. You hear about that all the time. There's literally like people with like tens of thousands of Bitcoins that are just lost. And there's a large percentage of Bitcoin like that, and of the total supply. I can't remember what the estimate was. I think it's like around like 3 or 4 million Bitcoin that's just lost, that can just never be recovered. And over the years, it's going to happen more and more where people are going to lose their access, or they're going to get hacked or something, or their computer's going to get fried. Like they're going to lose access to their Bitcoin one way or the other. I mean, there's ways you can prevent that, with being safe about it. But I mean, dude, this is it, man. Like this is like seriously like revolutionary for people. And I think more people that understand how this all works, like it's going to it's going to help the price. But two, it's going to really bring about, I think, a lot more freedom for people in general. Because, I mean, look at what the government's doing, man. Look at all the censorship you see on Facebook and YouTube and all this crap. Like, people are waking up to this stuff. I mean, and unfortunately, I still know a lot of people that think that inflation is just a scare tactic that they're not falling for. That's a quote that someone just gave me recently that I was trying to talk to about it. And, like, it blows my mind. He's very political too, and like it's whatever. I don't care what people think, what anybody thinks with politics. The point is, this is what I see. They printed almost a quarter of all US dollars ever created in the history of mankind last year alone. Okay, that's going to have an impact. and may not all happen at once, but you're going to see that have a significant impact on the value of the dollar over the next 5 to 10 to 15 years. It may slowly creep in through the actual price of goods or how much you're getting for each item, as far as like the peanut butter jar example, or other ways, like maybe like, less workers that are at a McDonald's or something. All these things are all interconnected. Okay. And I'm not trying to say like Bitcoin is the salvation to everything, because it's got its problems too, like you can't reverse transactions and stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
But you gotta treat it more as like just a store of value for your wealth. It's kind of, and nobody can take that away. You go to jail and they could potentially take your money away from you. They could confiscate, say it was drug money or something. Like you could go, governments have been known in the past, there's a history where government has taken away, like there's a point in the United States where people were prohibited to buy gold. That, that, like they actually like put a stop to people buying gold and say, no, you got to turn your gold in, you got to sell us your gold.
Of course,
that actually happened in history, in US history. But nobody can force you to do that with Bitcoin. Nobody can force you to they can't just take your Bitcoin. They can't just get in the network and take it. Nobody can do that. They can rob your house and steal a bar of gold. They cannot get your Bitcoin no matter what.
Yeah.
And there's security ways you can do that, so that you just have a special password that and nobody else knows to do that too.
What I think is funny is how we were talking about you think eventually the US government will have their own crypto.
Yeah.
Me and my friends kind of like have had conversations that are along the lines of, it's almost like money is already like it doesn't exist, like a lot of the money you have in your bank is just a number. You never see it. It's literally just a number you have in your account. And if that's not like a crypto, I don't know what is really,
Yeah, it's just a centralized government controlled digital currency, but it's going to be more than that, because they're going to have direct control over it and not just through the banks. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, if you get in trouble with the FBI, they can freeze your accounts in your bank and they can prevent you from making any transactions with your credit cards or anything like that. Yeah, they have to go through the banks and credit companies, but they're going to do even better. They're going to have direct control without any banks with this digital currency if they ever come out with one. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have a straight hard line to whether or not, to what you can and can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, not that you would ever want to do this, but if you ever want to buy like illicit goods or something, or drugs or whatever, like they're going to know and be up your ass about it. Like they're going to be able to sniff out anything and everything and tax you the hell out of it too. So,
that's, I mean, they could give a shit less about drugs. They just want to, on the profit, really.
No, I get it. That's really what it is. Honestly, I mean, if they just, I don't know why they don't legalize marijuana, because it's like, I mean, they could make a lot of tax money, which they've already seen in Colorado and a few other places. So, yeah, I think they'll get there. Honestly, I mean, I don't like, Democrat liberals, but like, I think they're going to eventually legalize marijuana, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me. I don't really lean one way or the other. I'm just pro freedom, basically. So that's why I really like Bitcoin, because it's just like, it's like the best form of financial freedom we currently have right now. There might be something that comes along that's better, but as far as truly being independent without having to worry about someone confiscating your money or freezing your accounts, it sounds like crazy, libertarian talk or something, but I mean, we've seen this shit happen. We're already seeing like stuff like censorship in the United States. We're seeing over in China places where, like, if you have a bad social credit score, are you aware of the social credit score over there?
I have never heard of it.
You know what a regular credit score is, right? Like in the United States, you pay your bills, your credit score goes up, you increase your limit. They have a social credit score, totally different. It's based on your livelihood as a person, where if you do good things, your credit score goes up. But if you do bad things, or you're like a public nuisance or get in trouble, or you're disorderly, your credit score goes up, and it affects your ability to do things like transact. You can't go certain places. You can't use like certain like services like buses or transportation, or maybe you can't get like a loan for a mortgage or something because of your social credit score. Like it literally affects everything. They can take it down. Listen, they can literally because they've got, it's like a super surveillance state, right? Over there, they've got cameras everywhere with facial recognition, and you can look all this shit up too. I sound like what's his name? The crazy right-wing conservative guy that got taken off YouTube. What's his name?
Alex.
Yeah, I sound like Alex Jones right now. But yeah, I sound like him right now. But they have a super surveillance state over in China to where they've got cameras so good. They've got a camera in the satellite view, like of the whole cities, that they can go down and see your literal faces. Like they can pinpoint that like that. And what they've done is they've got this social credit system in place, so they can literally, if you're bad enough, if you're such a bad person, they can get down to the person where you cannot even take a step without setting off alerts and alarms and stuff. If you really push it that far, you know.
Who determines like if you get a point of good or a point of bad? Like who?
The government. The government, they just look at what you're doing because they can see everything you're doing and everything you're transacting and every place you're going, history, everything you're saying and doing, stuff you're watching on TV, places you're browsing there. It sounds crazy, but that's literally China right now.
So it's like Reddit. They're giving you karma.
Yeah, that's a little different though. That's more like a positive support kind of thing. This is more just like a controlling support thing, you know, where it's like negative reinforcement, like consequences.
Oh, weird. Oh my God.
You know
about that.
Yeah, like so it's like, you know, Reddit is kind of like the karma thing is like positive support. Like when we teach in school, it's always recommended, it's better to give positive support, like give rewards or something when people do good things and just don't give anything when people do bad things.
Yeah.
Well, over there, they're just taking shit away from you. You know, like that's all there is to it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the United States look a little bit more like China in the next 10 or 15 years. Maybe we don't have a social credit score, but maybe we have something where if you got a DUI, they freeze your digital US dollars that you currently have now. You know, like that could happen. I mean, we could see stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, or let's say a wife or girlfriend accuses you of domestic violence, whether or not it's true, who knows, you know, that could be decided in court. But let's say in the meantime, they decide to put a hold on you being able to use any of your digital US dollars until things get satisfied. You know, I'm telling you, like, this is literal reality we could actually see happen. It might take 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, but like, you know, it's crazy. It's absolutely nut ass crazy. And I think that's kind of the direction we're heading to. So, not trying to scare you. I mean, I'll be here too, hopefully. So, you know, it's just, I feel like this is kind of the world we're getting ready to live in. So, the whole thing with Trump getting taken off of all social media, all just unilaterally like that really scares the hell out of me. Because if they can censor him all in one fell swoop, just a few tech giants, what can they do to us? You know, like, just, and it's not like he was out of office either. He was still the active president. I would say the same thing if it was Biden. You know, it's fucked. It really is fucked. Like, there's a lot of fuckery going on right now that's being ignored with the government and these tech companies. I don't know why it's being allowed. Like no one's doing anything about it. So
what they do is it's really easy to do that when they can just pit two sides against each other and then, you know, point at the other and say they're the bad guys and, you know, do all this shit, you know, right?
Yeah.
Everybody. And, you know,
it's all a big distraction, man. It really is. And all this shit with the stimulus checks, I mean, it's just going to make people rely more on the government, you know? Like, seriously, if you can just receive checks from the government, you're going to do everything you can to follow their rules and be under their control, man. Yeah. You know, like, it's very disheartening. I never thought we would get to the point where, you know, people will be relying on these checks. And, I'm not saying Democrats are at fault. I'm not saying Republicans are at fault. They're both kind of at fault. They're both, a lot of these Republicans have really shown, and I always lean to right, but like a lot of them have really shown what they're all about. And I'm not in support of either side at this point. Mm-hmm. I'm really not. Like, they just, like, half of them are a fucking disgrace. Just a little bit more so on the left, but that's my opinion. You know, like, they're both fucked. So, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, all I know is right now, I think Bitcoin and a few of these other cryptocurrencies are the best thing we have right now to kind of help us do what we want, maybe give a little bit more money in our pockets and possibly be able to actually, do things. So, all right. Can you see this market cap thing, coin market cap?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to real quickly just kind of go over if I had to make a choice, if you want to know some other ones that are kind of interesting. I don't really want to take time to dive into each one too deeply.
Yeah.
But obviously Bitcoin is going to be king. That's going to be probably that should be your number one. Okay. That should be the biggest thing in your portfolio always. Ethereum is another solid choice. Second best choice. Binance coin, I'll leave that up to you. I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not buying it.
I feel like it's gonna have a heavy correct. I mean,
Yeah, I do
I feel
too.
like it's up and it's good now, but like you said, it's owned by a private company, and I feel like it's gonna have a really heavy correction. And
Yeah.
you know,
Polkadot, that's another interesting project. I don't know a lot about it, but I do know it runs on its own blockchain. A lot of these tokens and stuff, you're going to find out in a second, they run on Ethereum as what they call an ERC20 token. Binance coin used to be an ERC20 token, for example, like one of those apps, one of those dApps I was talking about earlier on the Ethereum, on the computer of that Ethereum, if you think of it as a computer. Polkadot does not, though. Polkadot is doing stuff like making, I don't know all the details, honestly. I don't know all the details on it, but basically it's like they're making like what they call wrapped Bitcoin, and they're making like some kind of like autonomy between different chains. I don't know a lot of research about this one, but this one is one that I'm kind of keeping my radar for no other reason than just the actual chart. I know right now people are really excited about it. I'm going again, this is tradingview.com. So if you want to look at these charts, people are clearly excited about this coin right now. I'm not buying it right now, but if it came down around here in this current bull market we're in, sorry, I would buy it probably around this price here, which that's like 45,000 Satoshis, because that's kind of where it was here earlier. So, or anything less too. Going back to this Tether USD, don't touch that. That's a $1 coin. Right now, 99 cents, but it's supposed to be a stable coin. A stable coin is a coin that's basically trying to mirror the value of a US dollar, like a digital dollar. Okay. So Tether is one of the biggest ones. Don't ever invest in it expecting to make money. Okay. Like that's just supposed to literally stay $1. Like if it goes up or down from $1, that's kind of an anomaly. Like right now, it's a little bit down, not much. Cardano is a very good one. This is actually my second largest position in my portfolio other than Bitcoin. I'm very big on this because it is a project that's a research-based project. It's been peer reviewed. All their papers, they put out a lot of research papers on how their protocol works. It's been peer reviewed by different colleges and universities. It's had a lot of adoption across like Africa and some European countries to try to basically bank the unbanked. It's also proof of stake, and you don't have to give it up to anybody to stake it. You literally just stick it on your wallet, and you don't have to even have the wallet open. For example, I've got mine on my desktop. I'm not going to show you right now, but it sits there. It just collects about 30 Cardano like every 5 days. Nice. They're working on being a big Ethereum killer. They're trying to overtake Ethereum. The founder of this Cardano, he actually was one of the founding people on Ethereum, and he had some disagreements with some of the other developers, so he went to make his own project. He released it in 2017. Initially, it was centralized, meaning they controlled like the flow of Cardano, but he has slowly been working on. It's kind of like working in the garage on the car engine and like trying to get up and running and make sure everything runs smoothly. Well, that's what he's done. And now he's got that car on the highway, and it's now proof of stake, and it's actually working. And every day it's getting a little bit more decentralized. It's currently at about 80% decentralized, meaning like the company that he runs only holds about 20% of the actual staking. It's actually getting more decentralized to where eventually it's going to be 100% decentralized, and his company no longer holds any of the staking to it. So that's a good project. They're working on smart contracts. They're working on building dApps, apps like Ethereum does. I wouldn't say it's going to go to $2,000 like Ethereum is right now, because it actually has a much higher max supply. It's going to be 45 billion, whereas Ethereum doesn't have a max supply yet, but still the max supply right now, circulating supply is 31 billion. So I like it a lot. I've been buying that shit at 3 cents all through this range, and that shit's over $1 now. That thing is going to be, I think it's doing really well for me right now.
You're gonna get to 100 by the end of the year?
$100? No. I would be happy. I would be ecstatic if it got to like $3, $4, or $5. Honestly, it's right now. It's still, like I said, it's really up. You know, you can see the chart here. It's shot up. But I mean, dollar cost average. You know, if you want to take some of that dollar cost average, I think it could still reach to $3 or $4. Okay, none of these plays, I'm telling you, except for maybe Ethereum, are gonna like freaking 10x or something like that. Okay, like it's kind of late in the cycle, and that's what I'm telling my other friends too. It's kind of late in the cycle right now to like expect huge gains, but you can still make enough money to where you could easily double or triple or quadruple your money with the right plays. You know, like you may not see a 10x, but you may see like a 3 or 4x for sure. Okay, so XRP, shitcoin. Stay away from that. Centralized. Don't touch it. You may have seen some stuff in the news about it. Currently, the SEC is going after them with some kind of lawsuit saying they're an unregistered security. I don't trust this shit ever. Okay. Litecoin, we've already talked about that. I think it's a pretty solid choice. Right now, if I had to make a choice, if I had to tell you one coin that probably has a lot of chance to go up, it would be probably Litecoin, because again, compared to Bitcoin, it's really low in price. It really is low in price. So it's up, yeah, you know, number go up, looks great. But I mean, I think this thing could, out of all the coins that have been around for a while, I feel like this one has the most chance to like make a shit ton of money. Okay, like seriously, we're talking like a 3 or 4x easy. Okay, just by itself. I like that one. If I had to make a choice, still keep Bitcoin as your number one, and maybe Ethereum is number two, but maybe Litecoin is number three. Chainlink is supposed to be like an Oracle solution, basically just talking about being able to take real world data and use it somehow synchronized into a blockchain to like validate stuff. It's an ERC20 token, meaning it runs on Ethereum. So that's the only downside to it. Let me pull up Chainlink here. This one is currently in blue sky breakout, meaning I have no idea like how high it's going to go. It's already broken all-time highs in US dollar value, but in Bitcoin value, you can see it's down. Right now, I'd say it's pretty good buy though, because it does have a lot of upside in terms of Bitcoin value. That's about 170 at the very top. I would expect maybe 100% on that one. I'm going through these fast. I know. If I need to slow down, let me know. But you can always look this up when I put this on YouTube later as well. So there's the US dollar chart of Chainlink. Okay, you can see it's like blue sky breakout, freaking like ridiculous right now. Okay, I still think it has some room to go, but I would wait for maybe a pullback. Maybe somewhere around here. This is around $17, $18. Let's see. We're gonna get to something I don't really know much about. Bitcoin Cash, shitcoin. Don't touch that. Stellar, it might be good. I'm not really going to be able to give you a good judgment on that one because it's been around for a long time. It's kind of centralized like Ripple, XRP up here. It used to be called Ripple. It's kind of like by the same people that made XRP.
Oh, that's the one that's Ripple. I've heard
XRP is Ripple. Yeah.
Sister that was telling me about Ripple. Yeah. Okay.
Were they saying good things or bad things?
Nah, I don't really remember. I think she said that she had Ripple and made money on it from a while.
Yeah. I made money in 2017, but that thing is what me and my friends used to joke. That thing was called 30-cent coin for a while there because it was just always 30 cents. Right now it's 57 because everything's going up. But I'm going to get to say right now, stay away from XRP. Okay. They literally are in a fight with the SEC, Security Exchange Commission right now. So not good. USD coin, same thing as that Tether up here.
Yeah.
It's just a store. It's just a $1 value coin. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be a dollar, basically. Dogecoin, we've already talked about that. Wrapped Bitcoin, I cannot give you a judgment on this. I have not looked at the wrapped Bitcoin. It looks like it mimics the price of Bitcoin, but it's not really Bitcoin. It's like paper Bitcoin. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sure, except I know this is created from a different algorithm. I think it's created either from Uniswap, which is next here, or Polkadot. I can't remember what's created from. I have not done research on this. I wouldn't rely on this for anything. I think it's mainly used for trading, honestly.
Okay.
And maybe lending and borrowing. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Uniswap, big one, big one right here. I'm not invested in this one. Uniswap is UNI. Let's look at the chart. I've not looked at this one, honestly, but I've been interested in it. This is going to be you know how we talk. Okay. So right now you're on Binance, right? And I'm using stuff like Coinbase Pro to do my transactions for different cryptocurrencies, right?
Yeah.
Uniswap is a decentralized exchange setup to where you can trade different cryptocurrencies without a centralized figure like a Coinbase or Coinbase Pro, without Binance. It all runs on code by itself on its own algorithm. It's crazy. The only problem is with Uniswap is it's an ERC20, and that ERC20 is ran by Ethereum. Like it runs on that layer of Ethereum, of that computing power.
So it
So
basically never do as well as Ethereum, right?
no, it could. I mean, it's like just think of it as like you're comparing like, okay, it's like you're comparing an Apple stock to, let's say, Facebook, and Facebook is an app on the Apple phone, for example. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not quite the same thing. It's just a whole different thing. Like, it's trying to be an exchange without any authority figure and control whatsoever. So that's a good play. I think that one has a lot of long-term value. I'm not currently investing in it, but I mean, damn, I wish I'd bought some back here. Like, it's a damn good play. Uniswap. That one still, I think, has a lot of upside. Okay. Especially where it's kind of recovering back there. Aave. I've heard a lot of people talk about this. I don't know shit about this. Couldn't tell you the first thing about it. EOS, shitcoin. Stay away from this one. Monero, privacy coin. I like it, but it's been taken off of several US exchanges because it's private and they want to stick fingers up your butt to see where you've been transacting. You know what I'm saying? You can hide where this money is going from and to, okay? Where it's coming from and to. It can be all private on Monero. It's crazy. There's an algorithm that does it. I don't want to explain it right now, but it's basically like shuffling up a bunch of transactions and sending them back out.
Yeah.
So Monero is a solid choice, but man, you cannot buy it in the United States anymore. So I wouldn't do it, unfortunately. Cosmos, don't really know anything about it. I've seen this one pop up a lot. I don't know anything about it, though. I hear good things, but I don't know what it does. NIM, I don't know anything about that one either. Stay away from that one. Bitcoin SV, complete shit coin, okay? Trying to be a Bitcoin, it's not. It's shit. Huobi token, kind of like the Binance coin, this is for an exchange. Kind of like how Binance coin is used on the Binance exchange. Stay away from this. Huobi is a Chinese shitcoin exchange. You don't want to go to China. No. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Tron, shitcoin. But yeah, Tron. Tron is a shitcoin. I would not trust Tron for long-term wealth or gains. But if you want to trade it, Tron has a lot of potential, as you can see here on the chart. If you look at the chart here, it has a lot of potential to go up. Now, if I bought this, I would buy it and plan to sell it right here, just like a 300%.
Yeah.
Because that's where it last time peaked up. And if you look at this chart, very high, comes down. Lower high, lower low. See that? lower high, lower low again. So I expect a lower high from this up here. It could be anywhere from here, which is only 100x, to maybe all the way up here, 300x. Or I'm at percent. Sorry, I'm getting tired. It could be anywhere from 100% to a 300%. Okay. Like that's kind of I'm giving you the risk to reward. Now you can put money in that. You might see it drop by 30%. So it's not a bad trade, you know. If you bought Tron, it's not a bad trade because your choice is either okay, yeah, you could lose 30% if you put $10 in or $100 in. It might then be worth $70. Okay, or it could go all the way up and be worth anywhere from $200 to 100 times 3, or 300% is actually going to be another like $400 technically if you actually do the math.
Yeah.
So 100 could turn to $400. So I mean, that's a good risk to reward. I like that a lot. I might buy some of that here soon actually, because that's a good trade right there. Just, you know, the probabilities look good. IOTA, stay away from that one. I wouldn't touch it. Tezos might be good. It's kind of doing what Cardano ADA back up top here is doing with staking and stuff in its own way. I don't think it's as good, in my opinion. I'm not currently invested in Tezos. Where was it? Here it is. I'm not currently invested, but on the next dip that we see, where altcoins take a dip, I may buy some Tezos.
I've heard a lot of people talk about Theta.
Theta, it's been around for a while. I don't know a lot about Theta. Okay. But Theta's been around for a while. I remember it from back here these days. Way back here when I first heard about it. I don't know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what their project is about. What I do know is if I bought right now, I'm gonna have to look at myself and realize I'm buying near the top right now. You know, like it's not a good time to buy it. Even if it goes up maybe a little bit more, the probability is it's going to come down. Not guaranteed, but the odds are it's more likely to come down than go up from its current price there. So I wouldn't do that one for that. This is kind of how I'm investing too. If I'm ever looking at actually doing some trades, like swing trades or something, like maybe I'll trade something once every few months. This is kind of how I'm looking at these projects too, because a lot of these projects I don't think are going to last forever. Okay. Neo's a shit coin, Crypto.com shit coin. Dash is a private coin, but you can't use it because they banned it because it's private. FTX token, don't know shit about it. Avalanche, don't know shit about it. I've heard about it, but don't know shit about it. Don't know anything about this. Heard a lot about the graph, don't know what it does. Heard a lot about synthetics, don't know what it does. Like, this is kind of where I don't like taking any more risk. There are going to be coins all along this list here. Elrond, Algorand, Filecoin. I've heard a lot of these. Compounds popular, Sushi Swap's kind of like Uniswap, where I don't know why it's called Sushi Swap, but it's decentralized. It's like the competitor to Uniswap, basically. Zcash, shitcoin, Binance USD. I guess it's like their USD version of a dollar, whatever. Don't know what the fuck this is. There's Ethereum Cat Classic. I've got a little bit of that I need to get rid of. Pancake Swap, I don't know. That's a big popular one. That's on Binance. That's what it is. I think it's supposed to be something, but again, I mean, I don't know. Decred, old coin. I don't know what's going on with it right now. I wouldn't buy that because that looks way too high right now. I wish I did. It was $13 or $11 because right now it is $144. Okay. So when you're buying this stuff, you got to realize, okay, you're buying from these people who bought down here, you know, everyone that's selling, usually it's people like that bought down here. I mean, shit, this really spiked up. That's crazy. Okay. We're at Decred. Ravencoin, it's good. I like it. I currently, it's like, they basically create like these like digital asset token things I'm trying to figure out the best way to simply say this. It's got like a max supply. It's got its own algorithm, everything. It's kind of like what's a good comparison for it? It's kind of like the Libertarian Party. You know, it's not going to be one of the big boys like the Republicans or Democrats, but it's got a strong following. And obviously, right now, I wouldn't buy it right now. I actually just sold some that I had bought down here somewhere. No, actually, maybe it's right here. Right here. Yes. This is where I bought some at. And I just sold it today up there. So I was happy with that. The rest of these, man, you just got to do your own research. I mean, there's so much shit. There's so much shit here. I've a lot of these I've heard, a lot of these I haven't heard of, you know? Like, there's a lot of shit. Basic attention token's okay, but like this Brave browser I'm currently running uses basic attention token. They developed this browser for me. It's like a privacy browser.
Oh, cool.
It's really cool. Anyways, yeah, I'm kind of getting to the end here because I've heard some stuff like 1 inch, but like I don't know what a lot of these things do. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them are just shitcoin projects with shitcoin ideas, you know, like shit ideas. But the thing you need to understand, most of these projects are going to go. Okay, so when Bitcoin dumps down to like, let's say it takes like an 85% drop, I swear to you, you're going to see a lot of these projects, except for maybe Ethereum, maybe, you know, a couple of these other ones. Everything else is going to drop like 95% or more. Okay. Like all these things are way elevated price. Look at let's just look at it. Look at the colors. Look at all the green you're seeing here in the last 24 hours, last 7 days of the week here, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Look at all the green you're seeing here right now, dude. This is full blown bull market. Okay. Like nothing is going down. You see a little bit here, a little bit there, but dude, like it is full blown bull market, mostly green, not a lot of red. Okay. Like it, so, I mean, what I'm trying to tell you is when things come crashing down, if you're spread out into a bunch of these shit coins that are like not in the top 10, basically, and even some of the top 10, I would be worried about like Polkadot, like Binance Coin. Okay. Even my Cardano, I'd be worried about being in these even. When things start crashing down and you see Bitcoin take that big ass dump, not the one that's like 35 or 40% that I'm talking about that you're going to buy, but when you see Bitcoin take a dump that's like fucking catastrophic, and it's like you see it's trying to recover, like we saw here where it was trying to recover. When you see something like this and then it comes up and it can't make it and runs out of gas right there, and you see it stalling out, that's your signal to get the fuck out. You may hold your Bitcoin, that's fine. But this is the point. I happened to watch a YouTube video on January 6th, exactly, where some guy was like, yeah, if you've got these other coins, you need to get out. Basically telling me what I'm telling you right now. Consolidate all your shit coins whenever you see it come down and come up and then stop on Bitcoin's chart like this. Get out of your shit coins. Get out of all the Binance coins, Polkadots, Cardanos, Litecoins, Chainlinks, whatever the hell you've got, Dogecoin, whatever you have, invest in, get the fuck out because it is going to crash. All those coins are going to drop like 90+%. Bitcoin will drop, but I mean, get everything in the Bitcoin. If you're not sure if you want to sell cash, at least get everything into Bitcoin. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to, because Bitcoin's king. So had I not done that, I would have lost a lot more money in 2017 than what I did lose. I did lose money, but I didn't lose nearly as much money as I would have. And you really don't lose money until you actually realize that loss. You know, you don't really lose until you sell it. So
yeah, That's like
Yeah.
I'm down like on all my stocks. Well, not all of them, but most of my stocks I'm
Yeah.
down like every single one. But I mean, I didn't buy them to sell them in a week. Most of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
I have I want to keep for a while.
Yeah. I do swing trades, but for the most part, I didn't swing trade through 2018 and 2019. Not really. I might do a trade like once every 2 or 3 months, like that Raven coin stuff. Like this was really recent this is a bull year. So I've actually done more trading this year since the start of this year than I've done all of 2019 and 2018.
Yeah.
Okay. Cause like it's getting hot to where, yeah, you can make money doing like short trades like that. But again, just realize that right now, you're kind of coming in when things are really hot right now. Okay. And it's going to cool off. It's going to crash at some point. It's going to cool off. And that's really right now, use that dollar cost average strategy. I promise it may seem boring, but investing isn't supposed to be exciting. Okay. Like just follow that strategy. I promise you cannot go wrong. If you just a little bit every week and you put some set aside, or if you don't even want to put, if you're worried about missing out, you don't have to put the money aside in your savings account. If you want to just take whatever money you have and just divide by 4 and put it in every week, just do that. That's fine. I'm just telling you, like, that's the safest way. Okay. That is the way. Do it every Friday. Every Friday when you wake up in the morning, first thing you do, put in whatever that amount is that you can put in every week. Just go ahead and put it in. Okay. Don't worry about the price. Don't get upset if it's up high. Don't get scared if it's down low. Just do it. Okay. I'm telling you, like, that's the best way to do it. Okay. And that goes for a lot of things. Stocks, it works out like that too. But like, this is what I'm telling you from like 4 years of watching Bitcoin and watching and being in the space. And go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I think I'll try to go from between 50 and 100 a week, and I guess my target sell price now, thinking about it, would be about 100K. I mean, obviously that could change as I start putting money in, but I mean, as I'm thinking about it right now, I feel like 100K would be, a high enough percentage. I'd feel good to take that out.
Yeah, and I mean, you should feel good about it because I mean, honestly, like that, you're learning this space, and that's good. I really think it's really good. Papa doesn't know this space. Papa, I try to teach him the space. He doesn't get it. He sees numbers goes up and he gets excited and starts texting me about Bitcoin again. Or he sees numbers go down and he stresses about it, so he gets out and sells all of his stuff.
Yeah.
So I love Papa, but like I don't take Papa's advice when it comes to two things, and this might be something you figured out already too. I don't take his advice for financial stuff, and I don't take his advice for major life decisions like career choices or things I should be doing. Okay. He means well, and I'm sure you kind of look up to him too. He means well, and he really wants nothing but the best for you and for me too. But I figured out a while back that what he wants for me is not the same what I want for me. And I'm sure you probably feel the same way. Yeah. So just, take his advice, be like, okay, and I'll think about it or whatever. And, consider it, but like you got to think for yourself. You got to take your own advice because I listened to my dad. He also was texting me at the same time my friend email was to sell all my Bitcoin at like around $17,000 or $18,000. He told me to sell half of it. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. He's like, well, you think it's going to go down? I can share the text with you later. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know that for sure. I think there's way more upside than downside, and sure enough, I was right. And I'm not trying to say I'm always right, but like sometimes me and him disagree and we have different viewpoints, but he means well. Yeah. So if he tries to give you investment advice on stocks and maybe renting houses or whatever it might be, just I don't know, like really think about it because I don't know if you want to get, you got to do your own research on that. Don't just take his word for stuff. So Do you have any other questions? I know it's like 2 a.m. right now. Do you have any other questions or anything?
No, not really. I think we kind of covered everything. We went over a ton.
I know.
If I have any, I'm sure I will, after thinking, like digesting all the information,
Yeah,
I'll
man.
shoot you a text or call you or something.
And if you ever like want to ask me about a particular project or a coin, I can't really help you with stocks because I don't know stocks. I really don't. But as far as crypto goes, if you want like my opinion on something, a project or a coin, or what I think if I look at a chart or something like that, you can always text me. You got my number now, so just text me whenever you want.
Yeah.
And again, check out some of those websites I showed you. Like TradingView is really good. It's free. You can pull up charts for anything, including stocks and crypto. TradingView.com. Look into Bitcoin. So look into Bitcoin. It's really good to see some more of that data that I was pulling up. And then CoinMarketCap.com.
I like CoinMarketCap a lot.
Yeah.
For sure. A lot.
Yeah, they've got an app on the phone as well. I don't like the app as much as the website, but they do have an app to make it easier. So, I mean, those are 3 websites that are going to be very useful for you. TradingView to look at charts, CoinMarketCap to just kind of look at the rankings and stuff, and look into Bitcoin to see like actual fundamental stuff with data that's taken from the actual blockchain stuff. So, all right, man. Well, I guess that's about it. Do you have any other questions before I go?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
I know you're excited. Try to get some sleep, okay, man?
All right, yeah.
All right, love you, kid. Be good. All right. If you need anything at all, please let me know, okay?
I will.
All right. I'll see you, man. Take care.
You.
See you, bye.